Viewers, thank you in advance for your participation, your interest in this topic. It's going to be fun and interesting, and I just want to let people know right away, you all are going to be disappointed in me. I'm telling y'all right now. I'm telling y'all right now, y'all going to be disappointed in me. Y'all don't know me, but I'm telling y'all, just so when y'all get mad, I'm letting y'all know, because I'm going to be open and honest about my lack of knowledge of politics, but it's going to go down. I'm going to learn a lot. I'm going to introduce the guests and why I brought them here to educate me. I'm going to start first with Christian. Christian, please, I'm about to say educate yourself. Introduce yourself. but that too.
I'm Christian. I don't know exactly which direction to look at, but look, basically, I'm a young entrepreneur within the 2020 year.
I'm just saying, that's your camera. You can look wherever you want.
Okay, but
that's your
camera.
You can talk. You can look to whoever you're talking to. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, basically, throughout the 2020 year, I decided to become an entrepreneur, and so basically, this year for me has been trying to figure out how to become self-sustainable throughout the year. And during politics, there's a lot of policies that change how that affects me. But at the same time, this has been one of the best years of my life. So, I'm just ready to listen.
Salute.
That's what's up. Okay.
I can feel that.
All right, and Christian is a lifelong friend of mine, childhood friend of mine. I grew up with him. I know his parents. He knows mine. His siblings. We actually went through a lot together. Actually, we got out of a couple of DUIs together.
Man, a few.
My license was dependent on you passing that sobriety test that night. I remember. And I was trolling the cop as you were like hopping. I was like, man, that test's hard. You know he about to fail that, man. What are you talking? But anyway, I know Christian very well. We
He fail that if he was sober
now. That's what I was trying to tell him. ABC's backwards, really.
Yeah, I can't say that shit.
Nah. So thank you, Christian. As a second guest and surprise guest, I got Slim to the left of me. What's good, Slim?
What's going on, guys? Slim the engineer.
What's up, bro?
I've been recording and mixing engineer for going on 11 years now. Worked at a couple different studios on the East Coast. Politics is important to me, kind of actually more recently than ever, just because.
Put your mic closer to you.
My apology. Politics is important to me now more than ever because a lot of things have happened in the past like 2 to 4 years that encourage artists to give engineers and producers their credits, and that stuff is only coming to play crazily enough in the past 2 to 4 years.
Yeah, I feel that. Yo, welcome. It's my first time meeting Slim, but I'm glad to have you on, and I appreciate your willingness.
I appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you in advance for your comments and the participation. And then I'm going to do Austin, the engineer / co-host.
What's happening? Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Austin Toes. I am Austin Toes on all social media. Y'all support the show, man. Verify CashApp in the description. And we look forward to a great show.
All right, I appreciate you on that. My brother said, "Oh shit, A6," because this is what comes the introduction to the main host. I would say, I don't even know if you still go by A6.
Yeah,
you go by A6.
Yeah, I still make music and all that shit.
Oh,
Man.
word.
As far as battle rap, that's why your brother Regan, I actually battled him. He got over me that day. He got lucky. He's dope. Your brother's dope. Real talk. But I still do music and all that. Mostly right now, I'm writing, putting together a lot of stuff. I got a YouTube page also I can plug, right?
Please, yes,
please do.
A6_grind time on YouTube. I do a lot of commentary on there. I got some music on there too. Check that out. And then I've got a few old battles I used to do, more freestyle heavy. That was my forte back in the day. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of my stuff I put out now is basically commentary on politics. I've been educating myself on everything that's going on in the political world, on the news and off the news. Very important to know what's not going on in the news because a lot of that is what is actually happening behind your back. So, just basically learning a lot of that stuff has changed my point of view and restructured my way of thinking. And as a result, I'm sitting here right now. So hopefully we can go over some stuff pretty important. Maybe I can educate. Maybe I can learn something from you brothers. I'm always open to learn.
Yeah,
that's another reason I'm here.
Yeah.
I feel like election day is like the perfect day to go over this because me and my girlfriend both have been talking about different candidates and different things, and it's just great to have somebody like you who has actually done their research to really like tell us about like what we've been looking at over these past few months.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I had A6 to me is the educator. I'm gonna even say A6 and Slim because I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm assume that you do have input. I'm sure you do. I'm not going to speak for and I'm going to speak on me and Christian on being the learners here. I'm telling y'all right now. But I would appreciate anything that you all have to say. Now, the reason why I brought A6, because I know him personally, is because I seen the topics on his channel that he just plugged. And one of the things I like, as ironic as this is, because we don't do it yet, is how concise your material is. You know what I'm saying? They're not unnecessarily long. They're very short, but to the point. I like that, in my opinion, at least. We do hour plus longs. So we will be chopping up clips just for our audience to know. But anyway, so that's why we had him on here, kind of as the informer for the subject, which obviously, if we didn't say it enough, is black people, black young people, and politics. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how relevant that is to the African American culture from our perspective. We're going to talk about when it became more relevant, being how big of a deal the Obama election had in the interest of African Americans in politics. And then we're going to ask everybody their unapologetic opinion on really how practical it is for us to really make changes. How much control really does a presidential election have? So with that being said, A6, I met you through the battle rap world. I want to know, in which A6 was eventually my coach. You'll see in my battles that I shout out A6 in like 90% of my battles. But I want to know, when did this happen? Did you grow up with a political impression from someone, or did you develop an interest later on in life? When did your interest in politics take place?
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. I'd say I grew up like any middle-class black kid would, pretty much. My parents grew up in a nasty, pretty bad neighborhood, and they wanted to make sure they got out of the hood in order to have a future for their kids. So when they moved out of the hood, pretty much, they moved in a better area. So that's where me and my sister, I got one sister basically, were raised at. We were raised in a pretty decent area.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is public schools. Public schools will put the ones who are in Section 8 along with the ones who are in basically upper neighborhood classes together. So you'll have like real heavy hip-hop influence, urban influence throughout, which is the reason I was able to stay grounded. You know, I was able to pretty much know who I am the whole entire time I was through elementary and middle school. And high school switched up a little bit. Ended up growing up and going to a all-white high school.
Wow.
Yo, culture shock, yo. It was actually in Baltimore County. It was Carver Center Arts and Technology.
Dang.
It was a basically all-white school, son. Like, yo, it was so white. Like, they didn't have a football team.
Wow.
They had soccer team, tennis team, everything except football.
Wow.
And this was back in the day because the school
rugby
was so small. So, like, they didn't have a football field that was of regulation, so they had no team. So, they had a basketball team, of course, which I did not play on, so don't be racist. So basically, it was a culture shock. Like, I go from a school where I'm, like, people are wearing Timberlands, people wearing long T-shirts, baggy jeans, they listen to Wu-Tang Clan back in the day, cannabis, and all the official influences to, basically, they listen to all this other music I never heard before. So, that's when politics started to come into play. We had basically racist people inscribing racist things on the bathroom walls, like kill all niggers, stuff like that. I can say that right.
Yeah, for sure.
Kill all niggers on the bathroom wall, swastikas and stuff like that. It was a culture shock, yo.
Of course, yeah.
So, like, at that point, it was like, all right, well, look, politics is always tied in with race. You can't really separate the two.
Yeah.
If you look at the history of things like Tulsa, Oklahoma, good example. Redlining, which is one of the things that affected black people pretty much. It was the direct order from the federal government to give certain people loans to move in better areas and get out of bad neighborhoods. Those people happen to be white. So you can't separate politics from race. It's impossible, no matter what somebody tells you, because the way the federal government has treated black people the entire time is like pretty much a neglectful stepson. It's always an abuse thing. So
yeah.
Seeing all that stuff pretty much growing up, I was pretty much a standard Democrat. I was like, all right, well, my dad and mom always told me Democrats are not racist, Republicans are. No brainer, right? That's what I thought at first.
Okay.
So,
I heard that before from someone too.
Yeah, man, it was a popular thing for me. So
I
later,
heard that too growing up. Yeah.
that's the same thing. I think, and I don't know where you guys all come from, but I mean, I would suspect we're not too far apart.
Okay, yeah.
I always believe that people with like-minded minds, like-minded spirits and energies attract to each other. So everybody in this room is probably similar when it comes to energy.
Yeah,
which is what drew us to each other. So,
I feel you. That's deep, man. And you know that's another level right there. But I agree, man. Energy is very understood.
Yeah.
But look though, but in high school, stuff as deep as the Tulsa incident and the redlining, like you as a high school student, like what brought that to your attention? Because I don't think they would teach that in schools.
I'll be
Obviously.
honest with you, man. I didn't know about the Tulsa, Oklahoma bombings till 5 years ago.
So when did it? And similar to me, when did the politics thing? All right, like when they was writing the kill niggers or something like that. I guess it was small demographic of black, right? But so when
Very
did
small.
did the politics stuff develop an interest in high school, or was it until you got out?
I think I got more of it. I think what you're asking is when did the deeper insight coming along, right?
Yeah, when did you go into the process of elections, or like what? Yeah, what is the difference?
That was that actually started 5 years ago, and I recommend any person who's interested in this type of stuff to check out a documentary by Tariq Nasheed. It's a docuseries called Hidden Colors. The first, I'm pretty sure you've heard about it.
Very popular documentary.
Yeah, I watched Hidden Colors because a friend of mine from Florida, you know, we pretty much were friends the entire time I was growing up, and he was always real pro-black, but I was always like in the middle. You know, I wasn't super pro-black, but I wasn't like, you know, on the other side either.
Right.
So he was like, "Yo, you need to check out this documentary called Hidden Colors by Tariq Nasheed." I'm like, "What it's about?" He says, "Yo, it's all the history they kept from us. Everything they hid from the public education system is pretty much in this documentary."
Yeah.
So I take a look at the documentary. Like, yo, it was just like a mind cluster.
For real.
It was so much information in that documentary that I took in, and you can fact check all of it yourself. All of it is 100% true. I checked all the documentary's information. Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it, but I heard about it, and I think it was like a part 2 or 3 to it, right?
I think there's 5 parts, as a matter of fact.
Okay, because one of the parts was playing in the barbershop when I first got a glimpse to it, and from what I seen in their defense, from what I seen, a lot of what they were saying is true. But and what's wrong with a lot of black people is like they start reaching when they get to a certain point. But I'll give an example later on. Can you tell us what specifically from Hidden Colors stood out to you as very? I know a lot of it probably, but what's one example that stood out to you that was very impactful to you?
I'll tell you 100% honestly though, the most powerful thing that came out of that documentary for me was that black people had a past before slavery. I'll be honest with you, dude.
Oh, wow.
It was,
I'm
to
glad
me,
you're being honest. No, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? We can't help it. Like we start with slavery in the history books that we do.
Exactly.
So 5 years ago, what was your thoughts on that 5 years ago? Did you think about, what was your personal view on that?
I pretty much thought, I'll be honest with you, man, I thought pretty much at one point we were slaves. We came here from Africa. Before quote unquote civilization was there, we were all in huts. We were all living in, you know, these certain areas that were underdeveloped. It was pretty much what America taught us to believe when we were growing up. We were savages. We were nobodies. They made us slaves. Now we are somebody because we were slaves serving for them.
All right. Can I get everybody's opinion on their thoughts of that? Like, when, if ever, and I'll start with Slim. When, if ever, did you kind of say, like, oh, snap, like, we had a whole history before slavery that I just don't know about? Like, was there ever a moment for you when that happened?
My shit was a little different because my pops was old as hell. He was born in 56, man.
Okay. Yeah, mine was in the 60s.
All of his siblings, man, they were there in New York when Malcolm was there, when Martin was there, all of that. So they lived that. So their way of dealing with and teaching their kids was like direct. Like, you're gonna know more than just Martin and Malcolm. Like,
that's what's up.
Black History Month was no joke at all. So like, I've always had to know, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always been like in the back of my head, like, you know, you still live your life, you still do what you do. Every day is every day, but at the same time, like, it was never you can't not be educated and not know. The same time where you're having that conversation of, dog, this is how you handle a cop. At the same time, you learn about Whitney Young. You learn about Mary McLeod Bethune. You learn about these people, and it's like, oh shit. Like, you come from something.
Right.
And like, my ancestry is different because like my mom's Haitian.
Oh wow.
1804, baby.
born, raised, all that, and my dad's side of the family is also from the islands and shit. So like, our whole culture and our whole history is deep in that. Like, for Haiti, first island, first country to establish their own independence on their own. That root, you can't take that away, and that sticks and it hits here, and as that gets passed down, you can't ever knock that. Like,
Yeah. So let me ask you something. Your mom's Haitian. Your dad is from what island? Where's your dad?
my dad is actually, he was born in the States.
Okay.
But
All right,
his
all right.
dad is from Jamaica.
Okay, so his dad's from Jamaica. So you
Yeah.
would be considered second generation.
I'd be second generation Jamaican, but I'm first generation Haitian.
That's dope. Okay, all right. So that's important to this conversation. Okay, because that makes it even more interesting to your point of view. So you all possibly were not even necessarily focused on the African American slaves, but more on the Haitian history before.
I mean, yes
I mean,
and
I'm
no,
not saying that
'cause, I
y'all
mean,
were meaning it.
People
but-
still got brought over.
Exactly.
And slavery still happened. So,
Right.
like, there's a lot of cross-trading. At the same time, a lot of things happened because after slavery was abolished, there was a bunch of white people that were still stuck there. And so you have white Haitians. You got Haitians that are lighter than
Yeah.
A6, you know what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah.
and it happened in a lot of the islands. It happened in Jamaica. There's
Yeah.
a 13% somewhere around there last time I checked. Stats probably changed by now.
Yeah.
Where it's like a white population in these islands because when slavery got abolished, these people were still here afterwards, and they were people that were of relevance to the cause,
Right.
or they got stuck there by whatever chance, and so now there's the people there for whatever reason allowed them to stay there.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
now that is furthering the culture and furthering the development of what's going on. And so
Right.
like,
So you were okay. So
That
I'm
was in
getting-
1804.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I get your a little bit of your story here. Pretty much your parents made sure that your education was beyond the stereotypical or traditional Black
yeah, I had to
history.
know, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Christian, can I get your point of view on like kind of when your eyes might have been open to like deeper things?
When my eyes kind of got open to the deeper things, it's like when I kind of started to question my last name. You know what I'm saying? Like, my last name is Dingle, right? And Dingle is an Irish name. An Irish name isn't from here. It isn't from Africa. It's from somewhere else. So when I looked back and I said, like, dang, like, Dingle is an Irish name, and then you look back on it and it says, like, okay, well, it came from a place in Ireland where Santa Claus was born, and then like I learned the whole thing about Santa Claus, and Santa Claus was like a whole thing that was made up.
Yes, that is Dingle, the trail, for him asking.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but like yeah, so basically like Dingle was like a whole thing that was made up. That was basically like an Ireland trend.
You know.
So basically like Dingle is an Ireland trend. So if you are a Dingle, then you are of descent of an Irish clan, and basically from off of that, then you come from South Carolina.
But look though, let me ask you: at what age did you kind of consider the Dingle? When did you like kind of like consciously dive into that? Yeah, speak to the mic, please.
Honestly, I kind of dived into Dingle around like maybe like 11 or 12 years old when I was actually like out in the world enough, and I start running into other Dingles, and other Dingles start saying like, "Oh, we're from South Carolina. We're from South Carolina. We're from South Carolina. We're South Carolina." And I'm like, dang, like, it kind of makes me want to wonder, like, where are we actually from? Because I keep finding all these Dingles from South Carolina, and now all I can find is this Irish slave plant.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
interesting.
never found the root to that answer. Just to let you guys know, like, I don't want you guys to keep like searching for like a hidden agenda or nothing like that.
Yeah.
No. From just like my honest standpoint, like no, from my standpoint, I never found anything deeper than just the fact that my family has been around for a long time, but it's through like Indians, it's through like a lot of other cultures that my family has been prevalent in this whole entire area.
Okay.
I have a
Okay.
question. You said your last name is Dingle, but
Yeah.
you were saying that you couldn't find the origins, but there was a slave plantation
Yeah.
owner. So just to interject, from my understanding is a lot of times when slave masters had slaves, they would name the slaves after their last names, pretty much.
Yeah.
That might be a clue.
That's 100% probably what happened.
Yeah,
And you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like Dingle is a very prevalent Irish slave name.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I would even begin to even question outside of that. Like
Yeah.
no, like it's so prevalent in Ireland. I would have to dig really, really
Yeah.
deep to find where else that
You
came
came
from.
I know
I
what you
got
mean.
you.
Yeah.
And real quick, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get Austin's take on when he like the reason why obviously we brought this up is because race is tied humongously to politics. But what I want to do, I'm gonna ask Austin when he kind of decided when and if he decided that it was more to our beginning than slavery, and then I want to jump back to the more politic lane with A6. But please, Austin.
So I never really paid attention to nothing in school. I ain't care about nothing.
Yeah.
I ain't care about history, math,
Me either.
none of that, right? So I went all through school just doing enough to get by. You know what I'm saying? I just graduated. I didn't really care about nothing else. So it didn't matter to me for real until maybe last 5 years or so, maybe.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I started caring and paying attention to my mental health that I started caring about my genealogy. You know what I'm saying?
How did that tie to you? How did that tie together?
Because there are depressions and anxieties that can be passed down from your mom and your dad and stuff like that. Like genetically can be passed down. And so that's why I started paying attention to and thinking about like, all right, well, what did my mom have? Because I'm my mom. Like, my personality is my mom.
Right.
So, my depression, all of that, I feel like was directly from her. But this is stuff I didn't find out she even had until
That's what my next question was.
the last 5-6 years is when I found out that she even had depression. Like, I literally witnessed my mom contemplating suicide once and didn't even know it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, when I found out that she had depression, and then I connected the dots to what I had seen as a child, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe it kind of makes sense that maybe that's where I got it from.
Yeah, and
So that made me pay attention to my genealogy, and now I'm at the point where I want to dig even deeper back to like where did I really come from.
right.
African ancestry is great with that, by the way.
And like I appreciate you sharing that. Like I want to tell everybody, to me, history is very important. And shout out to Gino. Shout out to everybody in the comments, the Trail, Gino, IQ. History is very important to everything because when someone has an idea for a solution, to save them some time, they can be told what already has been tried and the route that it ended up leading to. And it's all about evolution of human life, you know what I'm saying? And politics goes into this a lot because of the different types of politics. Now, like with the Hidden Colors thing, because I can't wait to watch Hidden Colors now. I'm not going to lie to you. So, from Hidden Colors, which was 5 years ago, did you make a conscious effort at one point to search for a certain subject in that led you to politics? How did that then lead you to modern day politics?
Man, I would have to go back. If you talk about politics, man, I would say we would have to go back to redlining, man. Redlining in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Because if you look back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, with the bombings, that was actually the government who did that. A lot of people don't know this wasn't just the Klan. This was the government. There were helicopters flying over.
But when did you learn that, though? When did you learn that?
This was you said the Hidden Colors. This is right when I watched that. That's what pretty much inspired me to look deeper. So once I had discovered, wait a minute, the federal government did this back then, and I'm just learning about this. What else did they do? So then I started to look deeper, and then you realize, hey, look, why is it all mostly Caucasians in nice upper class neighborhoods, but in lower to lower middle class, it's black people? Why is that? So then I started to research.
Yeah.
That's what took me to redlining, and basically how it happened. So there's like documentaries all over YouTube you can look at how redlining affected what's going on today.
Okay.
Even how communities are policed.
Yeah. So that Hidden Colors, it was like the spark to your venture and more information of why this and why that is like in this country.
I would say that in the information age too, because if you remember, man, the technology just kept inclining and inclining and inclining.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so as far as the presidential election, not today, but prior, if it was 5 years ago, then obviously it was around the Obama administration. Yeah. I'm assuming. Yeah. All right.
The end of
Obama's administration.
Okay.
It was in his last year.
Okay. So if you were getting into this at the end of his last year, did that kind of drive you to look into who you will vote for next and why? Because this is my thing. I feel like, I could be wrong, but I'm speaking from just my perspective. A lot of black people, and it's getting better, obviously, just like anything over time when information becomes more accessible. A lot of black people, including myself, don't know where to start. You know what I'm saying? someone asked me today, and I would say it publicly, if I'm voting, and I said no, I'm not voting. And they asked me why, and I said because I don't know anything. I'm not educated on anything enough to vote. And they immediately said, well, Trump said that, and Trump said this, and Biden said this. I said, that's cool, but I don't have the education to research it myself and fact check it.
Exactly.
So I can't say that I could vote rightfully educated. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but I can tell you why I ended up that, you know what I'm saying? But I'll get into that.
Yeah.
But for you, at that point, at the end of the Obama administration, did you vote that the next year? And I'm sorry if I put this out there. Obviously,
man.
you know what I'm saying? Did you vote that next year?
You mean for either Trump or Hillary
Or either
Clinton?
one. You don't have to say.
No, I did not. I actually voted before I started doing a lot of research on it. I voted for. I actually wanted Bernie Sanders to get in, and this was on the right before the final election was. I voted for Bernie Sanders, but of course he didn't make it past Hillary because of reasons we're all aware of. But that's a whole different argument. So
Okay.
yeah, so pretty much from there I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and just sit this one out, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because Hillary was a piece of shit to me. I didn't fuck with Trump at all because I didn't like the rhetoric that was being spewed at a lot of his rallies and the way he was pretty much being played off. So I didn't vote at all. I set that one out completely.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm like, yo, look, hey, at this point, like me not voting, because everyone's like, hey, look, if you don't vote, you can't complain. Well, look, how about this? Blaming people who don't vote is like blaming people who don't have a license for car accidents. Like, you're not going to blame me for any of this crap going on just because I didn't fucking vote for either one of those pieces of trash. And that's why I stood with it
That's
pretty
interesting.
much.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
so I set that one out pretty much.
Okay.
And hey, Hillary, let's not only talk about Trump, because Hillary has a history of calling me a super predator. I remember that clear as day. Hillary referred to us in history as super predators.
Yeah.
So I mean, why would I vote for somebody who? And she was also close to what Margaret Sanger, I think it was. That was
Can
her
I, say
idol.
something? Can I say something, bro?
Sure, man.
Like during the history where Hillary was calling us like super predators and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like out of line. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like out of line because it was a stereotype given to all black people. But like outside of that, bro, like black people have really made a lot of money during Trump's pandemic. Like I'm saying, like black people have made a lot of money during Trump's pandemic.
I didn't know we were jumping in time. I was so
No,
talking.
yeah, you kind of didn't
We
make
gonna
a
get
connection
to that,
yo.
He made a good point though.
I was also
You
quite
saying we should be
confused.
super predators so we can make bread? I'm not sure where we're going with that. You start with the super predators. Now this nigga talking about making money. Like, you talking about being a gigolo? Or, you know what I'm saying?
No.
I can sell my body right now.
I'm kind of
Get
just
bread.
saying.
That's right.
I'm
Okay,
kind of just saying.
Go ahead. Nah, go ahead.
I'm kind of just saying, like, unless you're.
Yo, speak to the mic, please, bro.
I'm sorry. Where's the mic at? Damn. Okay, here's the mic at. Listen, unless you're blind, like the money has been there to make. You know what I'm saying? Like the money, like what Trump's been promising, what Trump's been saying, like he's gonna do for people, it's been there. You can grab it, like you can literally, just reach out and just touch it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
I feel you,
it's
bro. I feel you.
it's literally right there. It's
Yeah.
literally right there. Like literally, that's what Trump's campaign has been offering. It's like literally, you can literally just reach out and just touch his money and just say like, okay, I like that money, and then he can say I want more of that money, and then you can say like, okay, I'm gonna take that money.
Yeah,
But
and so,
you gotta know how you
I'm
take that money.
confused.
all right, so
But-
look
but-
though.
Hold on.
Look, let me ask you something.
I'm actually
But not-
interested to hear what this brother
What's your
said.
finish your last thought? Shout out to Rainbow Spirituals
Hold on,
too.
wait, because I got 1, 2, 3 people behind my thought right now. So
Nah,
can
just
I
go ahead.
So what I'm saying is that I've made more money than I ever have in my entire life throughout the Trump presidency, but I know it's the most dangerous money I ever met. In my
So hold on, are you making legal? I mean, allegedly, how are you making the money?
You had to pause that.
All right, matter of fact, hold
is
that because you
going?
act like you was gonna attach it back to it. Just hold that thought. We're gonna get to the Trump administration. We are.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
we are,
What I want to know is, all right. So look where we started. He started with who he was for, but he didn't vote. All
Yeah,
right,
okay,
I didn't vote.
wait,
I didn't vote. All right, have you ever voted? I'm asking everybody. So I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
saying-
I have actually voted before.
Okay.
I don't know how much you wanted me to answer this.
However much you want, but wait, hold that thought though.
Okay.
Austin, have you voted?
No.
Okay, I have never voted. Christian, have you ever voted?
No, I never
Okay. And so we know you haven't voted.
I did vote.
You did vote.
I voted for Obama. You didn't ask me that.
I'm sorry. Okay, all right. So you voted for Obama, but that was before like the
That's
big
before I
research
started. That
thing.
was just I'm gonna vote for him because he's black.
Okay.
I
appreciate your honesty.
voted for Obama because he was black.
At least
Yeah.
you're honest, dog.
Yeah.
Period, yo.
At least you're honest about it. You know what I'm
It
saying?
is what it is, yo.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
knowledge, whatever, yo. But I'm gonna tell you what it is.
I want you to.
As with most black people I knew of and talked to, we voted for him because he was black.
I believe you. Not
Well,
only
cut
that,
that for the
that
tape.
kind of ties into to me why a lot of people. And look, I'm gonna say some stuff, but I don't. Look, I'm just say it. A lot of people are saying Trump are racist. That's our black, but they can't back it up. Now, I believe he is, but a lot of people say that, but they don't think they don't know why. They can't go past why. But anyway, so do you mind saying who do you voted for, or do you not?
For this
really?
election? Nah.
No.
I'm not. Well, let's talk about it for this one. Nah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. What
I'm
about-
ashamed of my choices. Nah.
Okay. In the past, all right. In the past, and I won't beat you down for it. In the past, can you tell us who you voted for? This is my point. I just want to know, as someone that was voting, what led you to your decision as far as like when did you decide to research? What did you look at? What helped you determine who you wanted to vote for? Besides, like who
Ironically enough, like I didn't get to. I was like barely 18. I was like, because my birthday's November 6th, so I fucking hate this fucking time of year. Because it's either on election day or right before election day, and so I barely missed Obama's first joint. Like barely missed it. The second one that came around, I definitely followed through and everything, and like from Jump Street when I knew that re-election was possible, I followed everything. So I did vote for him on that joint.
Yeah. At that point, though, did you vote for him because he was black, or like did you? What made you vote for him?
The lesser of two evils.
Okay.
I think that's what it always comes down to. Is like it's the lesser of two. You're never going to get the perfect candidate. In my personal opinion, you never get it like a presidential candidate without some kind of reason for that.
All right, so
at some point.
So at that, all right. So and honestly, it is what it is. I'm just asking you questions. I'm not trying to personally put you out there, but you know, I'm happy that you shared that you voted. If Obama was the lesser of two evils, mind you, I'm not going against it. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
What was his flaw, though? What was his flaw? I know the other person might have had more, but what was his flaw, would you say?
First off, Gino funny as hell trying to tell me I voted for Trump. You funny, dog.
He's probably right.
No, I'm not going to give him a yes or a no. I'm not giving nobody a yes or a no. As far as Obama's flaws, man, I wasn't a fan of the apology tour thing. I think that was a very ironic thing for a half black, half white guy to be elected, and we need coltan in Africa all of a sudden. And
what's the apology tour thing?
I mean, he went around to a bunch of countries and he was apologizing for the way that the U.S. had handled a bunch of stuff. Which, look,
man.
I'm okay with that. Certain things needed to be addressed. I'm all fine with that. It's just like the timing of certain things. It's like we needed coltan. Where is coltan at? It's in Africa. You had to fix that relationship, or we weren't going to have that anymore. So all our iPhones, our TVs, our desktops, all that all uses coltan. So like, I felt like it was kind of like we'll put them here, and we'll put them on because it looks good. It looks great. I'm trying to sell you a car. You're gonna buy this car. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So I have a feeling you have similar thoughts to the Dr. Well, no, I'm not gonna put that in quotes.
Don't put me in the Dr. Umar box.
It sounds like similar rhetoric to him, which I'm not mad at. I'm just trying to understand the reasoning. But okay, I appreciate your answer. That was his answer to his flaws. How did you go about educating yourself on who you wanted to vote for, though? Like the second time around, what source did you look at that to you was trustworthy enough to?
I looked at all of them,
and this is with the intent of giving people advice on where to go to look at who they.
I don't think that you can't not look at everything. I think you have to look at the far left. You have to look at the far right. You have to look in the middle. You have to look at all of those.
Where are those things though? I'm talking because to me, when you say far left, I would say CNN. If you say far right, I would say MSNBC.
All those media outlets, all of the social networking platforms that we have, I look at all of those things. I look at how people are forming their opinions. I'm looking at the news articles. I'm looking at what's going on in this day, current events, because all of that is affecting what is going on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's very respectable.
Yo, Gino, relax, bro.
Please relax, Gino. I know he got a cup in his hand, just chilling, watching the joint, laughing. Christian, you have a thought on that?
Nah, I mean, like at one point he said like how he saw everything coming around him, and I mean, to be honest, I think we all go through that where we all see our peers, we all see, like, you know what I'm saying, like, our teachers and everything, we all look and we say, like, oh, okay, well, they're going to expect this from us, or they're going to expect this from us. And we all forget the fact that we're all living in the same reality that everybody else is living in.
Also, you have a thought on that? No, like Christian knows. Just so y'all know, Christian knows I love him, but I'm just messing with you. No, I actually thought you was Christian. I actually thought you were saying some stuff right there. I just want it was just the perfect time to do that. I'm sorry.
Listen,
go ahead. No. Finish your thought, please.
But listen, it was.
But speak to the mic, please.
It's hard.
It was the perfect thing.
Go off.
But listen. Like the perfect thing is, I don't have to move back into position. Like
You're saying that people shouldn't go by what people's perceptions or their expectations. They should go by what they personally experience.
Listen, the reality that you live in today. Listen, you woke up today and you had a great day. You know what I'm saying? You went out and you said like, hey, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. Cool, that's perfect for you. But what you have to understand is there's a whole other reality that's still working around that same time. And so when you reach a point where you say like, okay, I'm still moving throughout these goals, which we all are, right? Mm-hmm. We all are moving without these goals. You reach a point where you're like, okay, well, I want something more from it.
Yeah.
We all want something more from our goals.
Facts.
And that's just basically where life has everybody right now.
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
Yeah. Well said, man.
That's the end of it.
So like A6 and Slim, okay, because you are the voters in the room. Well, I want to say A6. Honestly, where do you tell people or ask African Americans to go? First of all right, look, let me tell you my opinion on like growing up African American. All right, so I don't know if it's obvious, but I grew up very religious. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, and in the Jehovah's Witness organization, I'm not going to dawn on this too much because we had an XJW podcast 2 episodes ago. It's frowned upon. It's not saying they never say directly you cannot vote, but it's frowned upon to be involved in politics because the rhetoric, in which I still do believe, is God's kingdom is the solution to everything. But with that being said, now I believe you can still make some practical effects in the world now while you're living in this world. So that's the reason, very short and cut off, why I never had an interest in politics and be educated. But now I'm open to it. So audience, excuse my ignorance, but that's why I grew up to think this way. I was born into it, and that's what I was trained to do. Now I'm opening my mind, and that's why obviously I'm open to the conversation.
The thing about the politics, though, is, especially coming from that background, what you don't know, learn, or miss, but it's not just that background. It's a lot of people. But what you don't get is everybody makes a big fuss about the presidential election when it's probably one of the least consequential elections of them all.
Exactly.
And we're going to definitely talk about that.
Hey, yo,
Continue.
He is ringing bells
of
with
them
that
all.
one.
Because I'm going to get on that. I want everybody's opinion on how much actually this is impacting what is actually making a difference.
Yeah.
But Austin, I appreciate that point. Before we continue, it's dark outside in his defense. But A6, where do you ask people to if someone wants to get educated before they vote, where would you suggest the African Americans look at in order to get educated on who to vote for, or if they even should vote?
All right, well, here's the thing. You can do what you want to do, but I pretty much follow a few different sources. First off, you have to get away from the closed-mindedness. Too often what I see is people who have friends on Facebook that all believe the same things they believe. So nobody's there to challenge those ideas to any truth. Or to fact check. So like
we
you
know
can
that
have,
too well.
and this is the same thing for people who want to vote Democrat. This is the same thing for people who want to vote Republican. It's the same thing for people who want to vote Libertarian. It's the same thing for people who want to vote the Green Party, whatever the hell it is. It's you have to challenge. You have to have the guts to challenge your beliefs against other ideas to see what makes sense and what doesn't. If you don't, you're gonna end up being one of those people that just believes everything they're fed. So like what I did personally, I follow Fox, I follow MSNBC, I follow CNN. I follow Libertarian. I can't remember what the page is. It's a Libertarian page though. I follow them pretty much. I follow pretty much anything I can pretty much get my hands on or my ears into.
Yeah.
I
So
even
you have
listen to
multiple sources, not
like-
just one.
Yo, I listen to Rednecks on YouTube. I listen to Guns and Gadgets is one of them. He's very heavily Second Amendment guy. He's always talking about Second Amendment rights, what the Democrats are doing to block the Second Amendment, how your rights are being taken away. I'll listen to some liberals, how they say, hey, those rednecks are psycho. They want guns so they can shoot all the black people. I'll listen to black people saying all these white people are devils. I listen to all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
So like, yo, you take in as much as you can and you separate it by what makes sense and what doesn't, and you absorb it for what you believe, and you make an educated decision from there. That's the best way to do it. Otherwise, if you just have a bunch of liberals on your friends list, you're going to be reading liberal news all day. You're pretty much going to believe everything you're told. Subconsciously, you start to absorb what you see every day. That's why news is so important and so devastating for people.
That's one of the biggest downfalls of it too. Because take for example, if you pay attention to what's saying on the news, and all you hear is from the far right about what the left is doing, or from the far left about what the right is doing, you're always going to get a slanted story. You're never just going to get, these are the bullet points of the facts that came from the left side or came from the right side. You're going to get a narrative built around it.
Exactly.
That you're getting writers. These people are writers. The same way we write songs, verses, whatever. They write articles to influence people based on whoever is paying them, to be honest, or however they feel they benefit the most. Yeah. So that's what they do. So that's what you're getting. And so that's why it's so important, like A6 said, to have multiple sources to watch everything and filter out the narrative.
Yeah.
Just listen to the bullet points. What's important? What are the facts? Because if you listen to the opposition of Trump, all you'll know about his rallies are the people's racial attitudes, and things like that. But if you don't only listen to his opposition, you'll see that there's a ton of black people at his rallies, and they standing shoulder to shoulder with the white people, singing "Kumbaya."
Here's the thing, interesting. They were talking about how Trump says there were good people on both sides when that Virginia massacre happened, where the lady got hit by the car, she got killed. And, you saw the car hitting a black guy flying in the air. So he says, hey, there's a lot of good people on both sides. But here's the thing. If you even watch the whole entire speech, it blew me away when I first realized this. He actually said there are a lot of good people on both sides. And I'm not talking about the white supremacists and immediately after that, yo. Like, literally, a millisecond after he said there were a lot of good people on both sides, he says, and I'm not talking about the white supremacists, white nationals, the hate organizations. I detest, denounce, and do not support or stand behind it at all. Pretty much something to that effect. But, yo, when you listen to it on CNN, they cut that segment.
Yeah, they ignore that
out.
completely.
And it's like, yo, what the... I literally heard this off of one of those redneck channels.
Yeah.
That's something you're not going to get if you listen to CNN all day.
Exactly.
So I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. So if they lying about this, what else are they lying about? And you start to listen to that logic, and you start to pretty much put things together. So this is a war going on right now for your mind. That's what's going on right now in the general public. There's a war for your mind and what you believe, and it will stop at nothing to get you to consent to be allowed to be controlled in that way. So that's why it's very important for us to take in multiple sources of information. And if you want to be technical, Joe Biden is proven to be more racist than Trump is.
They don't want to have that conversation.
Dude,
nobody wants to have that conversation.
There's actual footage of Joe Biden saying the word nigger.
Really?
That is correct. Look it up. It's on YouTube, yo. This shit is all out there.
I know people
Twice.
who are gonna vote for Joe Biden today.
Yeah.
All right, so look, let me ask you something. Why are black people so attached to democracy?
You mean the Democrats versus Republicans?
Yeah. I should make that clear.
It used to be the Republicans.
It used to be the
I heard
I'm
they
not
switched.
that educated on that. Like, please let me know why are black people connected to the Democrats?
Man, it's Here's what happens.
That's a great question. No, I feel like that's an underrated question.
I mean, for a lot of young people,
years,
yeah.
and for honestly, for generations, we've been connected to the Democratic Party.
Yep.
What's the history
To be
behind?
honest with you, why are we connected to the Democratic? Like, I know that what's his name, Bill Clinton, might have played the saxophone good a few nights.
There you go.
And then he got the black vote.
There you go.
And I know that the black vote has been won off of emotions, but
There you go.
the black vote is not something that we all come together on Saturday night and say, "Hey guys,
It's not.
let's all come together and cast our black vote." You know what I'm saying?
I'll be honest with you, man. I think it's very simple. I think black people have set the bar so low from low expectations from a system that's constantly fucked us.
Yeah.
I think we set the bar so low, all we collectively ask for now is some acknowledgement. Like, yo, Hillary Clinton literally came on Roland Martin's show and had this motherfucker tapped in. This motherfucker was literally dancing and cutting a jig with Hillary Clinton on the show and saying, I'll show you how to get the black vote. Here, just do this dance right. And they were literally doing the dance on TV.
yeah.
And what happened?
And that's
We're going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Where do you keep that? Where do you keep in your purse?
And
Hot sauce.
Yeah,
I keep hot sauce in my purse.
And that's why I brought my argument up, because it's like, what is the black? You know what? Somebody asked me. They said, "What is the black vote?" They said, "Do you guys all come together on Saturday night and all cast the same vote?" He was like, "If that's not it, then," he was like, "Fuck you guys. I'm gonna vote for Trump." And that's what the Trump supporter told me. He was like, "I don't give a fuck about the black vote because you guys don't all come together on Saturday night and come together with it."
So when did it change though? Like historically, Republicans were more so connected to black people. Yes or no?
Yeah,
I've heard
black
that
people
rumor.
were
I've
heavy.
also heard it's false too.
Basically,
I don't know about that.
Black
I
people
heard
were
it's
heavily
true.
involved in the Republican Party. Like it was a big thing. I don't know the history of when it changed, when it flipped over. But you can find it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
can find
out there.
history.
Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were both Republicans.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yes, Martin
Yeah.
Luther King and Malcolm X were both
Malcolm,
Republicans.
actually,
I didn't know
you
that, man. I'm
can
ashamed to say
look
that, I ain't
up. You can look up on YouTube and hear Malcolm X directly talk about black people just giving their vote to the Democratic Party just because, as opposed to basically what Killer Mike says now is partially what Malcolm X said before. So Killer Mike right now is saying, forget parties, okay? Forget political parties. The question is, who is going to give us what we want? Who is going to benefit us as a black people?
Well, shit, what do
Which
we
is
want?
why we need black super PAC.
right,
We need a
right.
black super PAC.
Even
We got
bigger
enough
is
people
what
with
do-
money.
What do we want versus what do we need?
I'm
Hold
be honest
on,
with
hold
you.
on.
Go ahead.
We got enough black people with money. We need a black super PAC to come together in the interest of black people. That group, that black super PAC, the same way all other super PACs do. There's a super PAC for Second Amendment lovers. There's a super PAC for everything, except for black people. We don't have one. That super PAC needs to meet with the leaders who are running for office and say, this is what we want if you want our vote.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what Ice Cube is doing with Trump, though.
That's exactly what Ice Cube is trying to do. The question is, why won't black people do that?
Well, here's what I will say, man. And to be honest with you, I've been doing my bad. Yeah, I've been doing some research about this personally. There's a big movement that was going on for like the last 3 years, pretty much. It's pretty much called basically reparations. They're asking for reparations.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot.
So it's basically what it is for those who don't know, who are watching. Reparations would be payback not just for slavery, but for everything the federal government has done to oppress black people. And yes, there have been things like redlining.
Yeah.
There have been things like Jim Crow laws. There have been things like segregation.
Right.
So what the idea was to award reparations as payment back that they were promised. Pretty much for foundational black Americans that were descendants of slaves. So which would be, some people would qualify, some people wouldn't. So as a result of that, the reparations thing was like, all right, look, we're gonna hold the vote pretty much until somebody comes forth and throws at us a reparations package deal. And they say, well, hey, we can't do reparations. There's no money for reparations. Yet there's always trillions of dollars for war. There's always trillions of dollars for this, that, and the third, and a bunch of other stuff that could probably take a slim down.
They paid the
Japanese reparations.
They
when
paid
got
the
put in
slave
internment
owners.
camps. Yep.
The
slave owners got
the
reparations.
slave owners got reparations
Yeah.
for losing their laborers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Losing their property.
Hey.
They got compensated for that.
They got compensated. The Italians got reparations.
Yeah, I heard about
every
that.
did.
You know what? I was just talking to my girl because we were talking about mafias and we were talking about America and we were talking about unions. And I was talking about how I used to be a part of a union. And I was telling my girl how the Italian mafia, not only the Italian mafia, but a lot of white mafias in America took over the construction trade.
Yeah,
To the point where black people were literally the target of number one. Like, listen, you could literally lift bricks all your life as a black carpenter, but you would never get a mechanic's license. That just wasn't
Yeah.
possible. They'll spin you and spin you and spin you for 100 years before you ever get that license.
Yeah.
And I was telling my girl, I was like, that's something that happens in the construction world that people don't talk about.
So yeah, and I was in the construction union, local 602 HVAC,
Okay.
and I learned the history about pretty much just like it happens today. And I want to get A6.
I was in the electrical jump.
You know what I'm saying? And like really, it was on paper they made it so that they weren't directly saying no black people, but on paper they made it so that the statistics happen to fit everybody that wasn't black. You know what I'm saying? They do that a lot today too.
Yep.
And real quick, honestly, for the audience and for myself, if A6 can touch on maybe 3 examples specifically that the government implemented some policies that affected black people without it being directly overt.
Without basically saying, hey, no blacks.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Policies. All right, well, look, let's talk about this one right here. How about the one pretty much which offered basically Social Security, the government taking care of families if the father or the man wasn't in the house? So, like, they basically have what's called Social Security, pretty much, which SSI, you get your checks every month, welfare, if you would. And the man is not allowed to be in the house, however, and they would actually have inspectors that came out to the house to check every once in a while randomly to make sure the man was not in the house. If it happened, the Social Security would be cut off. So that gave, a lot of people say that gave the black women incentive to have the black man out of the house, pretty much.
Wait. So let me stop you right there. So why wouldn't that give a white woman incentive to have a white man outside the house then?
Well, here's the thing about that. If you look at it technically, there is more white people now on welfare than there was. As far as years and years and years ago, there's a completely different ball game when it comes to money and politics back then. So I would say it'd be a safer bet to say it would affect black people differently because there were probably more black people on Social Security back then.
And I'll say too.
Okay.
You have to understand that the black community was literally forced to be the low income. It's rare to have, because you got to remember, even with the Constitution, black people were not thought about. Like, when you talk about the Declaration of Independence and all men created equal, they weren't talking about black people.
Yeah.
So everything that you've gotten since then, the whole system at its core was literally not built to benefit black people. So we were forced into to be low income because we couldn't get the jobs that the white people would get. We couldn't be bankers.
Real quick, please,
Hold on. We couldn't be bankers and real estate, and stuff like that. It was a task. It was extremely hard, if possible at all, to get the jobs that are going to make us be middle class or upper class. And so when they put stuff in place on the lower class, you have to understand, because of the way the system is built, black people are the lower class. So yeah, they're going to have some white people in there too that just miss the cut, so to speak, but they don't care about them either.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
And Chris, I'm gonna touch on your point real quick. Just please hold your thought. And I want the audience to know, I'm asking 60% of these questions for the audience. I know a lot of this already. with white people being more on welfare, you gotta look at the percentage of it being more of black people, and then also the uphill battle that we were fighting from the release of slavery. Therefore, the Social Security would affect us more because percentage-wise, we would depend on that more as opposed to a quantity. Christian, can you go ahead and say what you want to say?
I was just gonna say that as a black person, I understand that, like, our grandfathers, our forefathers, they were pitted against us. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a black person, I understand, like, hey, I'm going to work a job, and more than likely, the people who are my coworkers, their forefathers worked in this company. And so they have positions that are over me. And so they're going to get positions that are favorable to my positions. And then they're going to get promoted over me. Which means that I'm always going to have the bottom of the barrel of whatever I choose to within this union. You know what I'm saying? And that's with every union, whether it's an electric union, the sheet metal union, whatever union you choose, you're always going to have a family history of people.
Yeah,
from
it's nepotism.
Exactly.
And here's a big part of that is the fact that...
I'm actually super proud of you for knowing that.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Honestly,
because you're the co-host, so I'm like, I have a smart co-host.
I'm a smart ass nigga.
Honestly, let's all sit together and think about this, right? We all get pissed off that we all don't know how to...
I hate when people say stuff, tell us to do stuff we're already doing. Let's all sit together and talk about it. Tomorrow? No, I'm messing with you.
But I'm serious. Like, we all sit together, right? And we all look at one issue, right? And we're like, dang, this is fucked up, right? But then we all look together and we all look at the same issue and we say, damn, this is fucked up. And the fucked up issue is the fact that we're looking at, okay, we're getting underpaid and we're being undervalued for a certain trade work. A trade work. Something that you could be woodwork, sheet metal, electric, whatever, plumbing, whatever it is, you can teach it to a bunch of people. But the thing is, it's getting held out against us and they're using it against us to say, oh, he doesn't know this, he doesn't know that, he doesn't know that. Yeah. Therefore, we can't hire him.
Yeah, definitely. And that's like, that was one point, A6, and take your time. But can you give us another policy that was implemented that isolated the black people from being included?
We can go back again. I'm going to keep harping on this until people look into this, yo. We got to look at Black Wall Street.
Okay, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please.
We got to look at Black Wall Street.
Please.
Now, here's the thing about Black Wall Street, all right? The stock market was originally created pretty much by black people. We also got to go back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, too, because it's all intertwined. So with the Tulsa, Oklahoma thing, for those who don't know, we're going to break it down. After slavery was pretty much abolished in most areas, not all. Of course, we all know the story about Texas not telling the black people that slavery was over, and they found out later on, and that's when they moved on. But
that was a holiday. What was that holiday
Juneteenth.
name?
That was apprenticeship.
Juneteenth. Yeah,
That's Juneteenth.
I'm not a fan of that holiday at all.
You're talking about Juneteenth.
I don't think that's something to celebrate. But yeah, that's just me personally.
Well, that's when slavery was officially
right,
over.
Yeah, but
that's when the last of the slaves were freed because that's when they knew. It was literally
right.
the true Independence Day.
My gripe with it is that was the last day that they told us. It was deception. It was 2 years before June 19th.
Well, you got to understand.
It was the
how.
No.
You got to also understand how news is spread at this time.
That's true.
But
news is not just made readily accessible. It has to be.
No,
it has
Austin,
to be.
I agree with
Listen,
him.
hold on.
Austin, it was a conscious effort to keep it away from us.
It was definitely
it wasn't a
Yes,
matter
in
of
some
time.
places, but there were still
effort.
people that were spreading the news. There were black
Yes,
people.
You got to look
there
at how
were
much money
supporters.
that they were losing.
People
by doing that.
were going to spread the
Yeah,
news,
it
which is
crashed
why
the
it
economy.
eventually
Goddamn,
got
it
to
crashed the
them.
economy.
So you don't like the
That,
holiday because
Haiti's
of
rebellion too.
because of the side of the oppressor, but you got to understand the oppressor didn't create this holiday.
The oppressor is the
We
one that told
created
us that
this
No,
holiday.
No, I agree.
For
with that.
us,
I agree with that.
we said no. Independence Day was not our independence. That's not when we were free. Juneteenth is when we were free.
Yeah.
That's our Independence Day.
Yeah.
So you got to understand, we created Juneteenth. The oppressor didn't. That's us taking pride in the fact that we got free.
Yeah, well, no, we were told we were free.
No, you're missing the point.
Go
It's
ahead,
not
maybe I
a.
am.
You're looking solely at the side of the oppressor, not the one who was oppressed. The oppressed person made this holiday. We made this holiday. because now this is when we were truly independent.
But I get
Because
his
you
point,
got to
though.
understand,
That's
if
what I'm
you,
saying, though. Also, this is my question.
based on that,
I
as
get his
Americans,
point,
hold
though.
on,
I
stop,
get
hey,
both
relax.
points.
It's too much overtalk. It's way too much overtalk.
Yeah.
You have to understand, based on your viewpoint, I as an American can say I don't like Independence Day because that's when we were told that we could be free as Americans.
But that was a fight, though. We fought for that. Like
There wasn't
if
a
I'm
fight
American,
for
if I'm
slavery?
American. No. You saying Independence Day? That's different than that.
No, Juneteenth is our independence. That's why I'm saying you're missing what I'm saying.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. This is what my difference is. Independence Day was a fight that they fought for. The Juneteenth wasn't what we fought for. It was when the oppressor said, "Now you are
we fought
free."
to be free.
When? Like that's not my thing.
Oh,
Slaves were
shit.
freed
I
before
understand what you're saying.
Juneteenth.
That's
Before
what I'm saying,
Juneteenth.
because
You're
of the
saying,
oppressor
oh
did
shit,
that.
that's scary. That's
No,
scary.
listen.
I
No,
know what
listen.
you're saying. I know
Listen.
what
You know
you're
what I'm
saying.
saying? Like,
Hold on.
it's
I know
like,
what you're
it's like
saying,
I'm sorry
yeah.
to be so over. It's like getting raped.
Nah, I
It's
know
like
what you're
getting
saying.
raped.
because
I know what you're
And
saying.
I'm saying this is as bad as being raped.
You're
but it's
off
like,
base.
But look though, it's like getting raped, and then the person stops raping you, and you're like, he stopped raping me on this day. Let's celebrate. He
very
stopped
off
raping
base.
me.
Austin,
Nah,
I just
I
say
get what
this
you're
is
saying.
You
I get what
tell
you're
him to stop
saying.
raping
Nah,
me. No, he just
Nah,
decided to stop raping me.
I get what you're
That's what I'm
saying. Nah, I
saying.
definitely
So
get what you're saying.
what did we
Yeah.
do to make us free?
You're off base.
Go ahead.
Y'all
Because
both
you're
making
acting
excellent
like-
points, yo. That's the thing.
You're-
y'all.
you're-
Nah,
Y'all are
that's-
both
Well, that's
making
why we work
that's
so good
facts,
together
that's
because
facts,
I
that's
respect
facts.
him.
Y'all
even though
looking
we
at it
disagree.
from two different
But
views.
go ahead.
Bo,
Yeah,
Those are
nah,
both
that's
correct,
facts. That's facts.
yeah.
where you're coming with it right now,
How the fuck did the coke?
you gotta understand. The Civil War was the North versus South. America was fighting against itself, right? So when the North won the war, and according to the history books, because it's not really true, but according to the history books, the Civil War was to fight to free slaves, to end slavery, to abolish slavery. That's apparently what Abraham Lincoln wanted. It wasn't. It was a
wasn't
business
at all.
move.
Yeah.
But that's what the fight was for, right? So the North winning the war, to the victor goes the spoils. The victor's fight was abolish slavery. So since the North won the war, South, let your slaves go, join and make a complete United States. You're not separate anymore.
Okay. Go
You
ahead.
feel me? Okay, so that's abolishing slavery. When the North won the war, slavery was abolished. Okay? Now, then you have to take into account that's when the news starts to spread. But the war didn't end just because the North won the war and at whenever date it was.
Gettysburg, yeah.
Yeah,
Virginia,
I don't
yeah.
know what the date was, but when it
Yeah.
happened, that doesn't mean the fighting stopped all over the country. That doesn't mean everybody across the country knew the war ended. They didn't know the North won. That news had to spread from east to west, from north to south. And so when that news finally made it to the last black person that they were free, that is when black people say our independence truly began, when all of us were free, not just when us from the North found out we were free.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. And I understood that from the jump. My thing is, I just don't agree with celebrating that because
holiday, like-
not that we were free, but the way we Juneteenth. You gotta understand, Juneteenth is not celebrating. Well, maybe it is celebrating when we were completely free.
That's literally what it is.
Okay, all right, but
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But I don't know if
Nah,
people
I
know
get-
the
I get what he's
history
saying, though. I
of
get what
what
he's saying,
was
though.
involved in that.
No, they do. That's why they
Austin,
chose Juneteenth.
You're talking about it reaching the South, which I agree with. But the problem
Yes.
is you're not acknowledging when it reached the South. and it
I'm
was
not.
kept
Yes,
from
I
us.
am. I'm
Okay.
saying. I'm telling you, everything that you're saying is why they chose that date, because they understand that we weren't actually free, and they know there was resistance. So they're celebrating us finally breaking through the resistance and freeing the final black person.
But it wasn't us, though. It wasn't us. We said,
Bro.
It was our oppressors that told us that we were free, and it was the oppressors that led.
He basically
Who's
saying
fair-
since we didn't earn it, we shouldn't be
How
celebrating.
didn't we earn our freedom?
That's basically what he's
kinda
saying.
agree with
Because
that.
we
I
were
You're
kinda
saying we
agree
didn't
with
fight
that.
for our
yielded.
freedom, is what you're saying.
No, it's
We
kind
had
of like your
slaves in
parents
North
telling
and
you
South.
that, like,
You know what I'm saying?
All right,
Example.
example. A good example. In Haiti, the Haitians fought back and killed off every oppressor that tried to basically keep them oppressed.
Yeah.
So they earned their freedom in 1804.
There was no oppressor to tell them, hey.
Right. They said, fuck that. I'm going to fuck all these bitches up, and now we free. We were given basically freed by people who oppressed us. Because let's not get twisted. Let's not get it twisted. Slavery was going on years before the Civil War even happened, and the North was benefiting from the slavery.
Yes,
let's not get it confused.
The presidents had slaves.
Yeah, let's not make this. Let's not get this confused. It wasn't 100%. The North wasn't freeing slaves because it was a moral thing. Fuck that. That shit was about all that shit was about money.
It was business.
And also, Britain was involved too with that shit too.
Absolutely.
Britain cannot invade if the United States still has slaves.
Yo, there's a very interesting art. My bad. No. I was adding on. I was adding on.
No, I know you did it. You were supposed to do it. That's what. But
yeah,
you're
an asshole.
You know what I'm saying? I'm so sorry. No, I'm so sorry, dude.
So no. I was adding on what he said. Yo, there's I was reading some
Christian,
documents.
you're doing great. I love Christian.
He made some sense in him. Yeah. So look, like
damn, y'all just carry me like
no, it wasn't. That's exactly what he was trying to do.
Hey, yo,
I messed that up.
No, what you just
he would have told himself that if he walked in 5 minutes earlier.
Finally made sense.
Y'all dragging on my man's for no reason.
Yeah. So like finish that thought.
There's actually speculations that Britain actually beat the shit out of the Americans in that war.
They did.
Because there's a painting. There's actually a painting that shows the Britons getting back on their boats with their guns. When have you ever heard of opposition losing a war and been able to keep their weapons and leave?
I don't know.
And that's why it's called history. It's his story. The shit is modified.
The victor goes to
I truly believe America lost that fucking war on behalf of Britain. But that's a whole. We're sticking into racism.
If you
look. No, go ahead.
Yeah, please, A6, please go ahead. I will come back to you.
Nah, so look, all right. So back to what I was saying. So basically, you asked me about a policy. So when the slaves pretty much were quote unquote free.
Real quick, I'm sorry. I want to acknowledge Austin's thought, and I appreciate your thought. Obviously, we know we go back and forth. I'm acknowledging.
I'm so confused what you're acknowledging right now.
I'm just saying that I respect it. I
could have sworn we was like 5 minutes past this.
Okay. All right. I'm more emotional than him, probably. That's right.
Yes, very much so. I'm a troll. I really don't care.
Okay.
All right. So pretty much they all got together. We all know the story about how they all they had no jobs or whatever. They left the plantations. But they had all the skills. They had all the man hours. They had all the experience. They were building, cleaning, cooking. They were nurses, all this other stuff pretty much. So they went and started their own village pretty much, and it started to grow, and it grew till they got to the point where they had banks, black banks. This is all in one town. Black banks, grocery stores, hair salons, all kinds of places to get your cosmetics and all that, clothing stores. They pretty much had a community that was thriving. So much to a point that other countries were reaching out to them to trade with them. And this was that small colony of Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is Black Wall Street. That small area.
That's why they got burned down.
That's correct. That small area. Got burned down. That small area right there was so thriving of business. Other countries were looking and talking into trading with that small part of America. Once the other rest of America found out that shit, oh no, we can't have a place in America that's outdoing us. They making more money than us. They getting more connections overseas. So what they gonna do?
Let's burn them.
Naturally,
niggas.
They gonna blow the motherfucker up. They blew the bitch up, dropped TNT out of fucking helicopters, and all this shit was over. A white woman had said that a black kid had raped her. That's how it all started.
Wow.
The Klansmen ran through with guns.
Emmett Till started.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was Emmett Till that had something to do directly with that.
No. It was a separate thing.
Yeah.
But
it pretty much all started over a white woman claiming that she was raped by a black kid, quote unquote. I think that was a psyop, pretty much. They did that shit because they wanted to do it.
If y'all didn't know,
anytime you have a thriving, in my bad, I ain't.
No, you good. No, go ahead.
Anytime you have a thriving area that's making money or generating some kind of revenue, you have to have a what?
A martyr.
You gotta have a army to protect it. If let's say I become a gold collector, and I go around collecting gold from everybody, and everybody knows me as the guy with gold. This guy's always getting gold. He's got gold everywhere. He's all on YouTube with gold. Eventually, somebody that hears that shit's gonna say, he got gold in his house. We gonna run up in his house. So if I don't have any way to defend my house, guess what? I'm dead and all my gold is gone. Yeah. Period. And that's what happened with Africa also. Pretty much.
I want to say it also happened, the same thing that happened in Tulsa to Black Wall Street. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know Central Park in New York used to be a very affluent African American community.
Yeah, that too.
Completely self-sufficient African American community, and they got rid of it and put
60s,
Central Park in
the
there.
60s. In the 60s,
Yeah, he's right.
yeah.
Yep. So I agree with that. I would also say the third policy would be public schooling, man.
Oh yeah, please talk on that. Yeah.
Public schooling, man. Like, look, like I said, going back to how I first got my information, well, not even the information is relevant now, but pretty much my education. Hey, you are a slave. Every 6th grade, I remember we read this fucking book. It was about slavery, and I remember this kid named Paul. And he was one of those kids. He was one of the corner boys I was telling you about. You know, he was from the hood, for so to speak. But he had moved out. His parents moved him out. So he was from the low income neighborhood. But you know, when you go to school with all these people, you get different cultures. So he's sitting down one time when we in class and we reading this book. I can't remember what the book was, but it was pretty much about like American slavery. So he just bursts out one class. Why every time we read a book, it's got to be about black people being slaves? Why we can't read about nothing we was before slaves? And the teacher tells him, well, how about we not read books at all? No, be quiet and sit down. So he left the class. He ended up getting suspended because he left the class. So this kid made a valid argument. Yeah, he got suspended for that shit. This kid made a valid argument to which the teacher at the time, of course, was white. And these teachers are following a protocol which is basically put in motion to oppress us of knowledge so that we don't know where we come from. Now, here's something deeper than that. Did you know a majority of people that are of African descent are actually already here?
Yeah.
Say it again.
A majority of people that are of African descent of this land, foundational black Americans, American descendants of slaves, were already here.
We're already in America.
Yes, we were here before the Europeans were. If you look at some old pictures...
Wait, you talking about like the Indians or what?
No,
we're talking about
the Mongolians.
Hold on. Can I answer that real quick?
Yeah, what's up?
Can I just say that when I asked my mom about the Mohawk Indians, she said my family came from Mohawk Indians. Huh? And I kind of was like curious about that. I never did my AncestryReport.com, thing, whatever. But I realized that a lot of our history was already here. We were trading 1,000 years before white people ever discovered America.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. Look at the history. What history did they always tell you happened with the Native Americans? White people got here. They played nice at first. They had Thanksgiving. Got the smallpox blankets thrown all over them. Killed them, raped the women. Took the men hostage, killed some of the men. And who does that sound like, really? What story does that sound like?
White people.
That's us, bro. That's us. A lot of us are actually classified technically as Native Americans and don't even know it. My mom is half Cherokee. Now, here's the tricky thing about Cherokee tribe. The Cherokee tribe was, think of them as the black guy that, the house Negro that tells the slave that's about to run away to the master, and the master nips it in the bud. Pretty much the Cherokees were pretty much on some, let's get ahead by aligning ourselves with the enemy to get our money and all that in order to ascend ahead of the rest of the Native Americans. Well, guess what? As a result, we got a lot of people who are half Cherokee, a quarter Cherokee. The Cherokee tribe is the richest Native American tribe in history. You can look this up. And a lot of these tribes are also given reparations. A lot of people don't know the Native Americans are given reparations too. There's small enclaves of Native American areas that are pretty much reserves. And they have casinos. They took the money that they got from reparations. They pulled their money. They built a casino.
Yep.
That's how you turn over revenue. Yeah. So now you got people that drive to those
the whole
areas.
community owns the casino.
There you go.
So they all get paid out from the casino's
they get dividends for it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He nailed it. In California, they're extremely prominent, but you know what happened? They're not only maintained by... Let me not get you guys confused. The casinos are not only maintained by Native Americans that owned America way before us. Don't get that confused. These niggas were traded and sold along with other deals from Italian mafias, different Hispanic mafias throughout history. So don't think that you guys still own that shit. You don't own that shit. Nobody owns that shit besides Hispanic tribes because Hispanics brought that from us.
That reminds me of this. I had to say this Lupe Fiasco lyric that reminds me of that, the reparations talk. Lupe Fiasco was ahead of time, but it says,
definitely.
give the black man food, give red man liquor. Red man fool, black man nigga. Give yellow man tool, make him railroad builder. Also give him pan, make him pull goat from river. Give black man crack, Glocks and things. Give red man craps, slot machines. You know what I'm saying? And that was very deep to me listening to that. The song title was American Terrorist.
Terrorist. That's my
You know
song.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that
That whole
reminds
album was prolific, yo.
the whole album was classic, you know what I'm saying? But that reminds me a lot, and I got to get more educated on that, but that was beautifully said, to be honest with you, man. What I want to do is, all right, so if we're back here today and we have sources of media to kind of steer certain ways, is that all, like is that all? Because not everybody has what common sense isn't so common, you know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
Let me get a little personal. What have you found to be a source more trustworthy than another source?
Oh, you mean in terms of like things I listen to?
Yeah, media, and even if it's books, if it's podcasts, if it's a person that you say this person usually speaks an unbiased truth, in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing about this. All right, and I'm gonna say this as honestly as I can. As with anything that could bring money, there's always people who are there to hustle the culture.
Yeah.
So there's always gonna be people who do questionable things behind closed doors. But you really have to, when it comes to information like this, look at the knowledge that they bring. Test the knowledge, look it up, read from different books. Don't be lazy. You can't be lazy when it comes to forming opinions because it's not going to be given to you. You got to hunt for it. That's why we live in the age of information. You can literally get on one of these phones right here and find out how much the Eiffel Tower weighs. How tall was Abraham Lincoln? Like all kinds of stupid shit. Right. Who Cardi B cheated on Offset with or whatever. Who shit nobody cares about.
Yeah.
Just as easy as you can do that, you can get on and look this shit up. So I personally like these sources. I like Dr. Boyce Watkins for Black Finance. It is said that if you look at any area in the world that is a high crime ridden area, poverty is the number one cause of crime.
Yeah.
Why is crime committed?
Yeah.
I don't have money to feed my kids. I need money to feed my kids. He has money. I have a gun. I'm going to rob him and get money to feed my kids.
Right.
I don't have money. I can move this crack. I can sell the crack to make money to feed kids. This guy is trying to stand on the corner I'm standing on, so I can't sell crack to make money to feed my kids. And this is crime. We're talking about crime. So if you nail crime in the bud by increasing the amount of finances that black areas have that are suffering the greatest, I believe you would have that problem. Now, there's still going to be some assholes killing each other because there was assholes killing each other in fucking Africa before Caucasians even came. You always going to have people fighting. That's just, that's human nature.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah,
every race, every...
Right.
You know
But if we talking about crime, let's be real. The root of the crime is going to be finance, right?
Okay.
Dr. Boyce Watkins, check him out. He'll tell you about stocks. He'll tell you about investing your money, how to manage your money, starting a business, moving money around, getting customers, clientele, all that stuff. Yeah. In terms of raw history, I like Tariq Nasheed. Say what you want about him and the way he does what he does. A lot of his information is dead accurate and you can't refute it.
Okay.
And you can all this third one's gonna be controversial.
Okay.
But you know where I'm going with this. Dr. Umar Johnson. Now,
my man.
I love a good controversy.
Now,
My
here's the
man.
thing about Umar Johnson.
I love Umar.
Yeah. He's extremely intelligent, and that is the thing I respect about him. He's able to speak in an intelligent way. Nobody wants to debate him because he's way too vicious with his facts.
He tripping every now and then.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a human. Let's be
Can
real.
somebody hit me to this person?
Yeah,
Dr.
Dr.
Umar
Umar
Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah, that's ain't Dr.
Johnson.
Umar.
He's like a super pro-African.
He's
pro-black
Pan-African.
guy.
He's
Pan-African.
basically like Dr. Sebi or something.
No, Dr. Sebi
No, that's
is
different.
focused on natural health as opposed to he's like anti-American medical field.
That's
Dr.
another
Umar
guy
Johnson-
too, Dr. Sebi.
But Dr. Umar Johnson is like a Pan-African pro-black guy. He's really but he's super hard with it. Like he doesn't hold his tongue. You know, he says that
hard.
if you date a white girl then you're not pro-African.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't agree with
get
that.
it.
I'm more foundational black American
Here's the
myself.
thing.
Like, you know.
Okay.
Because that is a hot take of his, yes, but that's not
a solid representation. I don't think.
I think it is.
Yeah, go
Dr.
ahead.
Umar
Spit
is
your
he's a
I
Pan
think
African.
it
What
is.
he truly
That's how
believes.
that nigga feel.
I mean, that's the thing he said. Yes, but that's just one of those hot takes that you could get on YouTube. If you really want to get down to what his beliefs are and what he wants, like what he wants to work towards, is a united. He wants black people here in America to get on one accord and be united with Africa, with the motherland, that we have a motherland, so to speak. Like, that's what he believes. And so one thing that he always is constantly talking about is the fact that black people in America, we are in the best position of any black people anywhere else in the world. We are the richest black population in the world. We have literally like what is it, 3 trillion in spending
buying
power?
Yeah, I think it's like 5 trillion, something stupid like
It's
that.
up there.
It's up there.
And we don't use it to band together and to upbuild black people in other places, because it's kind of like a Wakanda thing.
Yeah, nah.
How Wakanda had the money and the resources, black people have, and black people in America, we have the most resources of any black population anywhere in the world, but we don't use it to upbuild each other and unite each other. He wants a united black population.
I think that's the difficult part of like the entire situation, even when it comes to like elections, is like the getting together on one accord on any one subject. Like, all right, so I was born in New York, Nyack, New York, upstate New York. You go up to Nyack, Spring Valley, fucking New York. Let me tell you something. It is a completely Jewish town. Now, I've been going up there and visiting my grandmother, God rest her fucking soul, all my fucking life. I fucking watched this shit. Bro, I've watched this shit, right? Look, no. I've watched this shit, and it's like, I watched this town go from, it was just the post office that was Jewish, to now it's the post office and the school. Now it's a school, it's a government building, and now all of a sudden it's like, the whole town now looks completely different in a matter of like 5 years. It don't take a lot, but it's like that kind of unification. It doesn't take that much. Yeah. But for whatever reason, it's
black
like
people don't do it.
Why can't my people do that? Yeah. And that shit hurts.
Yeah.
And that's basically
like, when you're in New York, you can go to any.
Chinatown, exactly.
You can go down the street.
Koreatown.
Yeah.
Another street, all Jamaicans.
Yep.
And it's like, but why can't my people? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what hurts the most. Because at the end of the day, I can have the best intentions possible, but by myself, I can talk to my family about the shit. Yeah, I might be able to get my family on one accord, but I can't convince my mans. Yeah, it's not like we about to make a move to the chicken spot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what?
I can't ever get.
Hey, bro, we had a conversation like that inside the barbershop, and we were like, how come all black people can't unite one leader? And we were like, how come every time we all pick a leader, he gets assassinated? So we're like, do we even need a leader?
No.
In the first place.
No, I would say we need to all just be on the same page.
Yeah.
They have something called on code pretty much.
Yeah.
Where the code pretty much of being black is we uplift each other, we don't tear each other down.
Yeah.
If there's something to be said about another black person criticized, that's done off scene. That's done behind the building. He was kind of out of line over there. But
family
that's not
business
for the public. That's private.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
We need that.
That's private.
We need that.
So
I agree with that.
With the if you're saying we don't need a leader, then if we do things like that and have to pull someone aside, won't ultimately it'll come to a majority that agree, right?
Well, I would say not that we
leadership.
don't need a leader, but we need a united front. It can't just be one person that we're anointing to lead all black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need a group of black people, or we need people who are knowledgeable, who can, take the lead, who know politics, who know how to handshake him.
You know what's scary is that
we need a group of people.
That gets effed up. It seems like, because was that not the Black Panthers? Was that not the original Crips?
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the Bloods and Crips were originally created to fight back against the corrupt police.
They protected their
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
And mind you, before the Bloods and Crips, the Panthers were like bigger than them. The Bloods and Crips really, technically, in my opinion, were Black Panther rejects. They weren't old enough and mature enough to be a part of the Black Panther movement, and they started the Crips, who walked around in suits and with canes, and that's why they called them the Crips. And the Bloods, they came in when the Crips kind of were doing too much and abusing their power. But before even that, the Black Panthers were that. But they were broken up by the. It seems like we got to get rid of the freaking I'm not going to say the white people, but I'm going to say the colonization quality.
You close.
You know what I'm saying? Because even when we do have prominent stuff and we have the leaders, it seems to get fucked up.
The reason for that is because I would say it's deeper than just colonization, man. That's a whole different conversation, though. Because then you start talking about the Federal Reserve. You start talking about bankers. You start talking about who's behind every political party. That's a whole nother conversation.
What do you think is the rebuttal for us having them leaders in the past that has been now like destroyed pretty much?
I mean, it's very simple. Like, you have, in any organization that becomes too powerful, it has to be co-opted by power. Mm-hmm. Power cannot have a conglomerate of people getting together, because the most dangerous thing is not one person who's out there speaking the truth, because he can just be written off as a psycho. Yeah. It's a collective of people. When you got 1,000 people all speaking the same language that you can't control, yo, that's dangerous, man. Mm-hmm. It's for instance, it's just like the debate between over cell phones. Like, one person believes one cell phone's better than the other one. The other person
Android,
believes
iPhone type shit.
Yeah. Right. The cell phones are pretty much damn near the same, but it's like, yo, it's easy to draw people in if there's a large group of people already doing something for some reason. Yeah. And it's the herd mentality pretty much with humans. I think it's a human being thing. I don't think it's necessarily just
psychological.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk about like Trey's comment is exactly a better, more precise way to say what I'm thinking. Like, we need representation. So what that means is, and that's why I say the presidential election is the least significant. We need to have people with our best interests of heart. We need to be electing them into office at the smallest level locally, and then pushing those people up the ladder. In politics. We need to do that all across the board. Because until we have people in the room with the decision makers, the people who can vote for a policy that's going to help our community, until we have people in those positions that have our best interest, because it's their best interest, because it's their family's best interest, it doesn't matter. Like, we can have a Black Panther Party. The reason they can get rid of that is because nobody in the Black Panther Party is in Congress, is in the Senate, is making any real decisions.
The problem with that
they can take out the one leader. They can take out the Marcus Garvey, and then the whole thing falls out. But if you have 40 Black senators or congressmen, however the number is.
Drugs, dog. And that's, I think that's what
wait
scares
a second.
people.
Hold on, that's a whole different thing.
I want to make sure. But wait. Like, I think he made a good point. Because you spoke first, what are you saying the war on drugs has to do with what he's saying?
My thing is, all right, so you were talking about the Black Panthers and how the Bloods and the Crips came from them. And what always happens?
Wait, before that, though, he was saying that...
Because I think your point doesn't...
No, it does.
It doesn't, because we've never had what I said.
Just follow me. I really think that it does. Because it ties back to his shit. What always happens? You got your OGs that know the neighborhood. They know how things are supposed to go, and they're supposed to teach all the young bloods about their shit. But what happens? They get locked up.
Right.
If you can't kill them, you can lock their ass up. Next thing you know, where's your leadership from? So now you got new niggas running around the fucking block doing whatever the fuck they do.
Yes.
So your leadership is done.
But listen,
if you have more than one leader, now what do I do? If I'm trying to control the situation.
But I'm saying, you're talking about policies, people to put policies in place to control the population. What I'm saying is we need our people in those positions of power who control the policies.
And I feel that. And what I'm saying
so
is
that those policies don't get put in place.
I think for a lot of people is, okay, yeah, we need that, but how do we sustain that?
Yeah, I feel you.
Because if every year I got this many black men getting locked up, I got this many black women by themselves raising sons that's
why you need those people in position.
But how do you keep them in that position?
My answer for that is
that's where the United Front comes in.
My answer to that is numbers. My answer to that is numbers, because the least you have that are put in that position, the easier it is to get rid of. But the more you have, the harder.
That's why I said it's about it's a united front.
I don't think that anybody is addressing what the fuck he actually asked.
We're directly responding to him. But go ahead. Go ahead. Let me go ahead, please.
In a way, he's asking, how do you sustain a fact of social influence? The fact is, the social influence is you're gonna not want to go to school.
No. He's not saying that. But
Here's
he's
the
not
thing,
saying
yo.
that. He's saying that. How do you keep leaders if leaders keep getting fucked up
But
from
that's
the
what I'm-
government? That's
Fucked
put in
up from the
place.
government.
That's
But
what
I'm
he's
saying-
whether it's
these-
shot,
But
whether it's
that's what
locked
I'm
up,
saying.
whether
It starts from a low point, and honestly, I don't think you're gonna make it to his point. I don't think the average kid will make it to his point unless we have a different one.
All right, so let me just hear A6.
Here's the thing, man,
I
like-
appreciate your comment.
Yo, like, with these organizations, the same thing always happens. You have situations where there are spies put in these organizations to find out what's going on and report back to the government. And this is going to happen to every organization. Black Lives Matter. Let's talk about Black Lives Matter, all right? And I'm going to ruffle some feathers here, but that's what I'm here for, all right? Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, all right? I believe in the idea that Black Lives Matter, but I do not agree with the fucking organization, okay? Organization was originally supposed to be about people of African descent being treated wrongly. Now they've shoehorned all kinds of other agendas into it. They've shoehorned LGBT, they've shoehorned feminism, and a bunch of other shit that had nothing to do with it. Did you know that guy that, what was it, Ferguson? It was Ferguson, right? Where,
What?
it was, what was it?
Eric Gardner?
Nah, not Edgar. What's his name?
Nah, you talking about
Brown. Mike Brown.
yeah,
Okay.
I think it was Ferguson,
In
Ohio,
Ferguson,
right? Am I right?
Missouri.
I forgot.
Ferguson, Missouri.
It's sad
Missouri.
I forgot because it's so
Missouri.
weird. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I know it was something where one of those black guys. So many goddamn black people got killed.
I
under
know, that's
Obama.
what I'm saying, yeah. But
So like it was pretty much Ferguson, Ohio. So the Black Lives Matter was originally supposed to be by it was two guys that were from inner city neighborhood. One of those guys was found murdered a year after the protests and the riots ended up happening in Ferguson. He was found murdered, shot dead. So it was a big question mark on how is it that, this guy's dead. Now there's two lesbian females that pretty much pick up the slack and keep it moving. And now they got LGBT agendas and all this other stuff tied in. Well, the reason for that is because of one reason. Why are these people all being directed to go to these cities and do this, that, and the third? It's very simple. I was actually there for the Washington, D.C., remember when the alt-right was coming to Washington? Mm-hmm. Remember that? I was there for that shit. I was there on the front lines. Me and my buddy Troy, we were both there. We got videos on YouTube on my channel. It's A6 Grind Time.
Troy Brown?
Yeah.
Okay.
A6 _ Grind Time. It's on my channel. If you look all the way back like a year ago, we got footage when we were there on the ground in D.C. So we're waiting for these racist people, so to speak, to come through to give them, just talk to them basically. To talk to them. Uh-huh. So what I noticed when we were there, man, we all met in this park, and there was Antifa there. So like Antifa's pretty much a bunch of, they look like middle class white kids. They all had masks on. And there was like one black kid, and they all pretty much kept to themselves. It was very odd. So my buddy went over there and talked to him. I'm like, yo, I don't trust them motherfuckers, man. The way they moving is just, how you can just feel when something ain't right?
Wait. Can I just clarify for everybody viewing? Antifa sounded different before it was. They came out like as something more later on in history, right? But at the time that you were dealing with them, they weren't as hostile or as pronounced as they were. You know what I'm saying? So you actually had a close encounter with them just on a personal basis.
Prior to what they are now, he's saying that these guys were there in that line of thing. Yeah.
I mean, it was only a year. He said a year ago.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know about what he said, but what I've seen from Antifa just a year prior at the Virginia gathering, the Unite the Right gathering, that's when motherfuckers were fighting and throwing shit at each other, lighting each other on fire, and basically beating the shit out of each other. I don't know about that.
Okay.
All I can say, I can only speak from what I saw, man.
Continue
I
though.
was
So they
there in
had
DC.
some type of weird aura.
Yeah, they were over there in the corner. It was like 10 of them. And I'm like, yo, why are they standing over there by themselves? It was like a group of people over here, and they were over here in the corner. And it looked like a couple of them were on cell phones and shit. They could have been talking to somebody from their house. Who knows? So, more people gather. I start seeing helicopters flying over. They know what the fuck's about to go on. And you get the feeling you're being watched. There's somebody on this fucking roof with maybe a sniper rifle, maybe some binoculars or something.
Yeah, you know that feeling.
Yeah, so I'm like,
Feeling.
you gotta be very careful how you move right now because you're probably being watched by like at least, I say 300 people that you can't see. So, people gather. Antifa finally comes over to the group, And then another group of Antifa comes down the block. So that's like, this one's like 50 of them. So it's like 70 of them. I mean, 60 of them there now. So now that one of them's giving this loud speech with his mask on, they got riot gear on, masks and all this other theatrics and shit. The shit just feels staged. It doesn't feel right, yo.
Wow.
It's like, yo, this shit doesn't feel authentic. Where the fuck did they all get get on the phone and have a YouTube meeting or something to come in? And
That's what it was with the riots too. A lot of the riots
That shit
recently,
wasn't right.
that wasn't
Right.
the protesters who
It
caused
wasn't.
all that looting and rioting.
It
Right.
wasn't.
It wasn't the
on to that shit.
protesters.
So look, so
Yeah.
boom. So we
Those
all
were plants.
Yeah.
Yep. So we all start walking. Like, all right. So it was choreographed like a motherfucker. All the streets were blocked off. We're all traveling down the street straight.
Wow.
You know, cops and whatever
That's
blocking
scary.
the streets. So now we walk down straight and then down another street that wasn't happening to not be blocked off. Black Lives Matter walks down. So Black Lives Matter comes down and it's a bunch of black guys basically smoking weed, the typical bullshit. Soon as they come in to meet with Antifa, they slap daps and all this other corny
He's
shit.
talking about me with the
As soon as they go to
Okay, yo, look, so they,
go ahead.
yeah,
So
so
they go to Antifa and they dapping them up.
they dapping Antifa up. Like,
Wait, hold on. I just want to make this clear. The
Yes,
Black
sir.
Lives Matter people.
yes, sir.
Are okay.
Yes.
Wait. How is Antifa identified? Like, are they clearly
That was the
identifiable?
point I was trying
They
to
all
get to
had
earlier.
black on. They all had masks on. My boy talked to him. He was like, "Y'all Antifa, right?" They was like, "Yeah, we with the Antifa movement."
So they were openly Antifa and the Black Lives. Okay, continue.
Yeah,
That's
Black
wild.
Lives, and they had banners that said Black Lives Matter and shit, so you knew who they were. So when they came down the block, it was like probably about like 50 of them. They came on the block. Now keep in mind, now we about like 300 deep, and we traveling down the street and shit. So you got news reporters trying to get in touch with the Black Lives Matter cats, trying to get the scoop and all this other shit. So one of the Black Lives Matter cats talking to this reporter and shit like that. Like, yo, you can't get a fucking interview till you hit this blunt. So he hit the blunt and shit, and he started talking. It was the most cliche shit ever.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yo, the whole shit felt scripted, and it
I'm
felt,
not even gonna lie. I believe you. I believe everything you're saying
it
right
felt
now.
like it wasn't right. So we get down to the end of the block, and you know the rest that happened. They never showed up. They were down there being guided by police. Nobody came. So
That's
the
crazy.
whole thing doesn't feel right. So then you start to ask yourself, you know, who is behind this shit? There has to be money behind this.
Yeah.
There has to be money behind it. Who's behind it? You start looking deeper in there, then you start finding out who's funding this shit. You got George Soros at the top. George Soros is basically a political influencer who has pretty much unlimited money. And if you look at some clips on YouTube, there's actually Antifa guys screaming, "Pay us George Soros, pay us George Soros," because he never paid the Antifa guys for the jobs they did with some of the riots. It's out there on YouTube, yo.
Yeah.
That shit is real, so.
So my thing is, all right, like this is my thing, man. How much do y'all really feel like voting makes a difference? How powerful is that vote? How powerful is the person that you're voting for if he gets elected? All right. One example I want to know is how much do y'all know that president implemented the policies? For example, when I bring up the stimulus check this year, people say, well, Obama was the one that spearheaded that. Really, how powerful are these people? Because even when Obama, I heard, was trying to do a lot of stuff, it was people before him that were able to block it. So I'm saying, like, how, and I'm just honestly asking, how confident are you guys that the person you're voting for really can make a difference anyway? Or are you hoping that he's going to try and eventually years later what he tried to implement it will come into effect for children or whatever? What are your thoughts on that? Can I start with Slim on this?
I think it's a popularity contest. If you really ask me, I think.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Yeah, we read the chat. You know, you could read. I don't know where you're looking at from, but our subject should be apparent. But if not, we appreciate you joining. The topic is young black people in politics. So thanks for joining. But go ahead, Slim.
I think we have more of an effect when it comes down to like local government than anything. But I think when it comes to like El Presidente, I think that shit is a popularity contest. I think they pretty much already know who the fuck they are going to put back in office, who they want to be in office. And I think at the end of the day, like, we are the popular vote. We are, who looks best? Who's got the best answers for the shit?
Yeah.
That's all I really get. Like, even this last little presidential, this is the worst set of presidential debates I've ever watched in my entire fucking life. I'm just like, bro, like, what the fuck?
Very uninformative.
Yeah, what am I watching,
The
bro?
debate
Like,
was so bad, we had our own.
like y'all not even debating on screen. Like, I'm not getting any real answers from anything. If I had no knowledge of what the fuck was going on, I can't sit here off of those debates and be like, okay, I can make an educated guess as to who I would want to look more into. I can't, because both parties are just trying to throw more dirt on the other one, and both of y'all look shitty.
Yeah. I
can't
grew
do
up with
that.
that thought.
So-
I mean, I grew up naturally with the thought that politicians are liars. Or just that was just the thing. It was what everybody knew. But you feel like it can be effective, the local government. I think you spoke on that too.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. Like, because keep in mind now, when you say when it comes to El Presidente, it's the popular vote. It's not the American people popular vote. It's the Electoral College popular vote.
I mean, they still do the two separates though. They still look at the electoral and they still look at the popular. And I think that at the end of the day,
electoral is what they choose.
Yeah.
Is the always who controls the president,
but based off of who we vote for.
Because Hillary won the popular vote in 2016
Won the popular vote.
She did.
by a landslide.
Yep.
That's crazy.
But Trump won the Electoral College.
That Electoral College is like...
That's who determines who your president is. That's why I say local elections is where we have a real voice, because we are
that determines
picking,
who's voting in the Electoral College.
Exactly. Our local, the smaller elections determine who is representing you to cast the vote for the president.
Yeah.
That's where the smaller election. That's why I say the presidential election is not the most important one. It might be the least important.
Okay.
At the end of the day, though, there's so much money fucking changing hands. I just gotta sit here and be like, yo, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Because, all right, each state gets a certain
same way.
amount of Electoral College votes. So if enough money goes one way, now all of a sudden this state is determined as Democratic, or Republican,
red or blue, based on
you know what I'm saying. So now,
based on how they vote,
everybody want to vote for Obama, but guess what? It's a Republican state, and where that money goes to.
It's
So
just
who
so
get
happened
voted
he
for?
got a lot of.
Hilarious.
And I just want to before I move on, I want to talk to. I want to read one of the comments. Local elections have a much more profound impact on what actually happens to us.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm starting to think about that. So A6, do you have similar sentiments? Or like, do you feel the same way about?
I mean, I agree with the Trail Low pretty much on two levels. Like one, yeah, he's absolutely or she is absolutely right.
This nigga gonna say, nah, I know, sorry. I know.
Yeah, bro, I know
That's
she's
a nigga for
my
real.
life.
But
No.
It's not
So
long.
look, check it out.
I
So
know
look,
he's
I
right.
know it's not like this. He knows.
it's chaos in here, man. Chaos.
Fuck is the actual handle at?
I'm dead. They're gonna hand
Y'all don't have
sanitizer
a
if you
handle-
want it.
Y'all don't have a handle on the outside.
Yes, we
It's
do.
right here.
No, y'all don't.
It's right here.
Listen.
What do you mean?
Listen.
He didn't
When
see
you're
it.
dark
You mean
on
we
the
don't have
outside of
control?
that, you don't see that.
What?
I understand that it might be.
My
man got lost
You're on the dark
between
side.
That's
the
cool.
You might as well
We
make that
good.
bar.
Have your
When you
seat.
sit, I don't have a handle.
It got
It's
lost.
all good.
My man needed a GPS to get back in.
Continue.
Hey, the first time he came in, he doing a slip and slide.
Word, yo.
He saw the handle that time. He held on like a mug. He was gripping that joint tight like a mug.
Gave himself a stunner.
Hey.
But nah, so
I'm
look,
sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
All
nah,
right,
some
now
G
you
shit though,
good.
but like, yo, so check it. Like, all right, look. So, y'all goofy. All right, yo. So look, Trump gave remember remember when
He's trying to
remember
fight back finally. You're like, you know what? It's about to be the end. You goofy. Let me just see what happens.
Go ahead, take that
Yo,
This
chance.
nigga look like a light skinned little Dirk in the face.
yo, hear me out though, hear me out. Check it out.
How was that?
Remember when Trump was going back and forth with Baltimore? I know you remember that shit. Elijah Cummings before
Yeah,
he died.
Oh, man.
They had a back and forth pretty much, and Trump pretty much said Baltimore is a rat-infested neighborhood. Nobody
I
wants to
remember
live there. I don't know why. You know, he's talking about me when he can't even. We sent y'all motherfuckers like $1 billion, and Trump is not Trump, but Baltimore's still fucked up. And it was like, yo, everybody's like, hey, Trump's an asshole. That's not right. Trump's a dickhead. Then you look out in the backyard, and there's fucking rats running across the yard, and there's trash all in the fucking yard. And what happened 2 weeks after that? People were coming out to clean the area up. Baltimore actually looked good for once, for a while, until this shit wasn't in the spotlight no more. Yo, remember that video about Lexington Market where that fucking rat was crawling on that donut? I know you remember that shit.
Nah, I don't, bro.
This was Lexington Market, Baltimore City. They had a video from about 7 years ago where there was a fucking rat inside the donut case at the market.
Look, man, every city got
Crawling
problems.
on the
I'm
donut.
biased against
Come to
Baltimore in a
Baltimore.
negative way.
Yo, I'm from Baltimore, dude. Like, yo.
I grew up there too,
Oh,
dog.
man, yo.
City College,
But
class
hear
of
me,
11.
but hear it out though. That shit got to the internet though.
Yeah.
That was a bad look. And it's like, yo, all right, the motherfucker's a dickhead, but that shit was true. Why is it?
You're not really from Baltimore.
Why is it?
That's so effing messed up. That's effed up. Because I know why he's
Motherfucker
saying
trying
that.
to pull my
That's fucked up.
credentials.
No. He's saying. I know why he's saying that. That's some prejudice stuff right there.
No, it's
That's
not.
why.
It's not.
His profile.
I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Eating rats must be a delicacy around his way. It ain't around mine. So look.
He's not from Baltimore.
Yes, he is.
Young.
Ever since I know A6, he says he's from Baltimore. He's from Baltimore. He clearly just said his
He went to
history.
Carver, dog.
He grew up in the middle class.
It makes sense.
He just went to he's a smart guy. Actually, he's a fire battle rapper. You know what I'm saying? But
let me
he's
get
from
this
Baltimore.
straight. So let me get this straight. So you can't be intelligent and be from Baltimore.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
know who this nigga voted for.
I know. You know I'm Baltimore.
Just say you voted for Trump, my nigga.
Hey, Dino.
What I'm saying
He
is,
voted for
like,
Kanye. It's all right.
Hey, you know what? I ain't mad at that, yo. I ain't even mad at Kanye.
Go ahead.
I ain't
All
mad
right,
at
so
that.
look though, so if the
I can't remember where I was and shit. I was going somewhere with that. Yo.
Okay,
Damn.
yeah, you were going with
With the money shit. The money shit.
Damn.
Yeah,
But
with
my
Trump
thing
with
is,
the money.
but okay, my thing. Oh yeah, because Trump he brought the roast infection, the rat infection.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, so if you can't trust the presidential election to be impactful, and now mind you, I promise I'll look more into it and I'll make an effort to do this. But do you all personally make an effort to vote locally or go to whatever local town meetings, whatever, more so than the actual election? You know what I'm saying?
I don't go to
Or
town
do you
meetings.
plan to do that in the future?
I'm not going to sit here and lie. I've
There you
never
go.
been to a town meeting, not one day in my life.
I started to go to one once, but I had to work, so I didn't.
I think they schedule it
They
strategically.
schedule it while
bro.
you at work.
Nah,
Could called me, dog. He needed some
Oh,
shit.
it's
I had to
Baltimore,
go over
nigga.
there.
On those things though, they do, like, it's well known and they've done this throughout history. They literally try to schedule things when it's least convenient for black people to make it. Like, they don't want you there. They don't want you to have representation, bro.
You know I got 2 Sunday services to go
You know-
to.
you
know what I'm
Make it over that shit. Come on now, dog.
If there's one thing I've been interested in politics, it's the black vote. And the reason why I say it's a black vote is because I actually have paid attention to how people calculate the black vote. And people literally calculate the black vote as if we all come together on a
Why this nigga talking right now?
on a Wednesday or something.
What does that say?
Thanks, yo.
No, but like people literally pretend like we all come together on a Wednesday or something, and we all say together, "Hey, we're all gonna put on together our black vote today." You know what I'm saying? Like that's how people view the black vote, because the black vote has been the most unprejudiced vote in all of history.
Okay.
And
All
I
right.
think a lot of people ignore that. I think that a lot of people ignore the fact that the black vote is the most unprejudiced vote, because it's the only vote where you get to see people actually react to their own environment.
I disagree because niggas was voting for Obama just because he was black.
Yeah, I think the
That's-
problem is just like
exactly.
division. I think like one of the biggest things that why Obama got elected was for one little instance you had a little bit of both sides, the generational gaps agreeing on one thing for once, for that slight second. But for the most part, when it comes to voting on that shit, or even talking about politics in general, we're really divided about our shit. You got your older generation that feels the type of way because they live that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
You got your younger generation that doesn't quite know, but they done seen their mom, their dad work their ass off, whoop-de-woo, in their 20s and their 30s, and so they have a different understanding of this shit. Then you got people that are just coming up that they really don't get it quite yet, and everything's kind of easy for them because nigga, they getting iPhones at 3 and 5 and 8.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, this is here. I don't understand. It sounds like a legend. It's a myth. It's a fucking it's a story.
Yeah.
And I think that's what like divides us, and we all have these different things that we're all dealing with at the same time. Systemic racism, all those things, the oppression that we deal with, but everybody's coming at it from a different point, and at no point do we have like us sitting down and going, yo, like, all right, how do we all get on the same page about the shit? Because at the end of the day, we all still have the same problems.
Right. And that's why I want to ask 2 more questions. All right, 2 more questions. The first question I want to know is, really, to be honest, based on the trajectory that black people are coming on now, are we getting better, and can we be hopeful for the future based on the current algorithm that we're going through? What do you think? Like in short response, I got 2 questions. I'll make it go back to okay. All right,
Yeah.
so are we getting better as black people in our progression in America when it comes to equality and when it comes to prominence? And can we be comfortable with our current trajectory as African Americans? Because we did come a long way in a sense from where we started, and then having a black president, even despite the narratives and everything like that, it still happened. So what's your opinion on that? You know what I'm saying? Can we have that little hope of our progression so far?
Well, I mean, I would say as far as the black president thing goes, I would totally throw that out because there's a lot of reasons we didn't get around to. But yeah, as far as trajectory, I think we need to do this. I think we need to be on the same page in terms of, on code pretty much. We all need to be thinking for each other. We all need to be backing each other up. We need to be all getting on our Second Amendment game. We all need to go out and purchase a firearm to protect ourselves and our family. If you can get a concealed carry permit, do so. And I'm serious about that.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to hunt, become self-sufficient, so we don't have to rely on a racist system if the system's so fucked up. We need to be able to pool our money, and we need to be able to have honest discussions with each other about what the issues are. We also have to put our lives before anything. So like we had the conversation about poverty earlier and how it brings crime. We need to put ourselves first. So instead of shooting each other, we need to get with each other and try to arrange something better. Now it's going to be harder to do in certain areas. Certain areas it'll be easier. But I think that's something that needs to be looked at. So become self-sufficient. Become to the point where, all right, this shit ain't working. Let's just drop every fucking thing and move over here. We're going to build this over here. We got carpenters to build. We got this, that, and the third. We got mechanics to build whatever. Fix cars, whatever, this, that, and the third. And get that shit together. But this time, we do another Black Wall Street. We got a means of defending ourselves.
Yeah. That was beautifully said. I know for sure I'm going to cut that up. I promised myself I wouldn't even say this online, but I promise I'm going to cut that up and repost that. So like to piggyback on that, what I think is that I think that we are heading in the right direction, but I think that we do need those people that say that it's not enough. We need those people because we have nationally people that get complacent and are accepting, and because of our genetics, we accept what we are given. Then you got the people say, no, we need more, even though it might seem like, shut up, we're all right. No, we need those people to say that. That's very important to combat our complacency that's in our genetics due to slavery. But I do think we're heading in our right direction. I think we should support everybody that says we need more, me personally. Christian, what do you think?
Nah, I mean, I definitely agree with you, bro. Like, we definitely need more. I mean, I think we need more support as a whole. I think we need some more support throughout history. Like, we all look back on history and we look at Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, but there's so many more generations that influence the black community than just, just the main things that we all talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's actual brother-to-brother circumstances that we could all benefit from, and I just feel like we just need to tap into it. Honestly.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. And Austin, what do you feel about it?
When it comes to are we making progress, it kind of slices both ways. I would say right now in 2020, for various reasons, Black America may be as close to on the same page as it has been since Malcolm and Martin. And on a world stage, more united than it's ever been. Due to internet and social media and everything. But at the same time, are we making strides? Hard to say, because why are we this united right now? Because we're still getting the same results that we got in the 60s, in the 50s, in the 40s. We're still fighting the exact same thing. So are we making progress? I don't know. It's hard to say. I think if we can keep up with this united front, both country and worldwide, then you have hope. You can have hope, but you need to see some change. And I don't think we'll be hard pressed to see it in our lifetime.
Okay.
We'd be hard pressed to see it in our lifetime, but there's a chance that grandchildren, great-grandchildren, or however far down the line, there's a chance that they get it. that they get to see some real change, some real progress, some real equality, you know, not just tokens. Because we get a lot of tokens. We got a black president. That was a token.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of tokens, but we
Yeah.
don't have a lot of substantial, real change because things are still moving the way they were through segregation and slavery. It's still all set up. The whole system is set up against us. So, have we seen progress? I'd be hard pressed to really get some. We've had little things, but nothing substantial enough because we're still fighting the same fight.
Okay, we need people like that. We need people that I appreciate your honest opinion, but we need people with that mentality, man, because people are more accepting on a lower level than that. So we need people like the way he expressed himself, where he's like, nah, nigga, nah, we could do better. We need that. I'm gonna ask one more question before I'm acknowledge this comment specifically, so people can look at these hashtags if they do. Show what this person professed that they show. It's Dr. Jones. Thank you for joining. There are black leaders in the electronic age with hashtags BLM, Me Too, hashtag B1, and hashtag ADOS.
ADOS, yep.
Blacks are making progress and influencing society. So check out those hashtag guys.
Real quick, Ty.
Yeah.
A6, you know what ADOS is?
Yeah. American
What is that?
Descendants of Slaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard
American,
of it before.
I'm familiar with that. That's led by a dude named Tone Talks, who has a YouTube page, and he's got a chick that looks like Corey Guns. I can't remember what her name is, yo.
Damn.
But yo,
Girls.
But yo, you know what the problem I have with that? I don't know if you're wrapping it up or
No,
not.
go ahead.
The problem I have with that organization is they are heavily influenced by Democrats. Democrats are pretty much, funding. So like
They've done that to
whenever you got
most of the
Democrats
black
involved, it's going to
thing,
spin to
yeah.
the agenda they want to spin to. So
okay.
Hey,
got you.
can I just speak on something real quick?
Go ahead. Then I'm gonna ask the last question.
It's a real quick question. Honestly, it's not even like a subject I really want to dictate. But I heard that if you donate to Black Lives Matter, that it actually goes to a political party that isn't actually funded by Black Lives Matter. It's actually funded by whoever basically just funds the hashtags of those like events, basically. So basically, like, let's say, like...
You're asking it hold on, I'm sorry, because I think I know what you're asking. You're asking if you donate to Black Lives Matter as funding something that doesn't have the agenda of Black Lives Matter.
It doesn't have the agenda of Black Lives Matter, and there's multiple organizations that are out there that are like that. Basically, my question is, like, how many organizations are like that, and what do you think about them?
well, as far as the Black Lives Matter organization, I pretty much stated my opinion about that earlier. I think a lot of them are co-opted. If you go to their websites, you'll see a lot of other agendas being put in place. LGBTQ. This guy. LGBTQ.
No, I mean, it's obvious, but, like, I just wanted to, like, reiterate, like, because it's a lot, like, when you really look into it, like, it's a lot, like, when you look into Black Lives Matter, like, you get everything else but Black Lives Matter.
That's
you know
what I'm saying? Yeah, I agree with that. I 100% agree with that.
That's the reason why I brought it up.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're right about that, man. It's every time in history we've come up with something to propel forward, it pretty much gets Trojan horse. They shoehorn a bunch of other shit
metaphor, yeah.
and then when all the other shit successly catches on, they kick us to the back curb.
Okay.
Even
that's why it's
with
hard for us to say
Obama's,
that this part-
even
Obama-
with Obama's campaigns. Now I was educated recently. Shout out Kiana on a lot of stuff that Obama actually was able to do that benefited black people that I didn't know about. Right, so he was able to do some things, but on the grand scale, what was really pushed with Obama's campaigns was LGBTQ.
Yeah.
That was what was the main focus of his political runs. It wasn't the black community.
Yo, did you
right?
ever hear those right-wing theories, though, about Obama?
Yeah, I did.
Yo, they were saying that Obama is gay and Michelle Obama is a man.
Yep, yeah, I heard
Oh, I
There
heard
was this
some of
guy
that
he
too.
dated-
Jesus.
So he was friends with in college or something. That's
Yeah.
why she was saying-
Savage.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah,
Yo,
I
when you
saw
start to
that
go down that
too.
rabbit hole, it's scary
Oh
though,
my
because the
God.
shit start making
Because-
sense.
Because you don't know
Because
what
he
to believe and what not to
starts
Right,
believe.
yo, but that's scary,
But
man.
there's several
Fuck.
videos of him calling her Michael.
Yeah, yo, that shit ain't right,
Which
bro.
is weird.
It's fucking.
It was
Hey.
weird, but I'm not going.
And why is this guy passing all this LGBTQ shit? Like,
It was and
I got
they
nothing
had
against
some-
gay people.
That's a conspiracy theory rabbit hole.
That wasn't what I was
Yes, we
touching
can.
on. That wasn't what I was
Look, let me ask you the
touching
last
on.
question. Yeah,
I didn't touch on that.
Question
Yeah,
marks.
right. But yeah, I could choose looking
That's
at it
some
if I want.
different shit.
All right, so we'll wrap this up, man. Appreciate all y'all participation. One more question, wrapping this up. The question is going to be, from this conversation, what is your determination to do politically? Where do you stand politically? Not where do you stand, but what do you want to do politically going forward to benefit the world or the country? A6, if I can start with you, please.
I would say what my man here is doing, get yourself a business as a black young entrepreneur. Make as much as you can and also help the next man up too. Because the only way we're going to fix our situation is money. Let's be real. And like I said, become self-sufficient like we talked about earlier. And do that. And then, help your man out. Your man help another man out. He help another man out. Next thing you know, you got a circle of strong people.
There you go.
If I got an auto shop, which I do, I'm actually a business owner myself. I have an auto shop, and if I know a black guy that has parts, I can buy parts from him. I don't have to outsource the money anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to keep the money in the community.
Keep the money in the
It's
community.
the only way.
Yeah.
If we start buying black, if we start thinking black and all that stuff, man, we're gonna be all right, man.
There you go. Okay, Austin, can I get your
Yeah, because I can piggyback right off of that. You gotta support. You gotta keep the money within the black community. Me personally, I can go short term and long term. Short term is just getting more involved locally, and continuing to work with the businesses I work with. Quality Touch Studios, Slim, his family over there, he's an engineer. So shout out Quality Touch Studios, William Bowser, the team. I do so Wayside. We got a whole team. Even Gino, the artist that the reason I manage him is because that's my man. He's a young black man with a dream. I want to help make that dream happen. That's what I do. Like, my whole thing is supporting my people around me. Shout out Darnell and his clothing line. Kiana is an amazing chef. Like, I could go all day shouting out all the black people and the black local people, business owners, entrepreneurs that I know, that my whole goal is to support this team and to build this team up, because I know that they have the best interests of us in mind. So if we all build each other up and get ourselves in a position of prominence to where we can reach out and help the next person and the next person, and also influence this politician and that politician, then we can get stuff going on both fronts. Both in the political front, we get policies pushed our way because we're pushing it that way with the money the same way everybody else does. It's a game of money. You pay to play. We get ourselves in a position where we can do that. So, and this crosses over into the long-term plan. My long-term plan is to be able to open my own school. Not a school that's state-run. I'm talking about like what Dr. Umar is he's trying to do.
Because
that's what I want to do. A charter school to where I control the curriculum. Because we're teaching what I want people to learn.
And beautifully put, real quick, Austin. Because I'm not trying to shoot at anybody, but the LeBron James school is not run by LeBron James.
Right. As great as
he's a name and a representative.
As great as it does, though.
Freaking school.
Now he's doing a lot of great things. He's getting a lot of people out of. It's still accomplishing part of the mission. Because it's bringing a lot of impoverished black kids into a position to get degrees and to get jobs. And he literally is active with these kids. Like, they know him personally. He's at their graduation. He's at the school.
He's a badass.
He's very involved.
Right.
And so he's doing great things, but correct.
Job's not finished.
He doesn't own the school. He doesn't control the curriculum of what they're taught. And that's the difference between a charter school and what LeBron has. Charter school, you control the curriculum. I can have kids learning about taxes and investments from 3rd grade. If I wanted to. And that's what I want.
We need to talk a lot more about that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you brought that up.
It's a whole, like, bro.
That's
a whole show in itself.
A whole show within itself.
I love that conversation
100%.
right there.
I'm gonna get Slim's input on just kind of like your
question.
Your political ambitions, like.
I think we're all on the same page. I think it really comes down to 3 things. I think it comes down to building black, meaning our communities, and how we impact our communities. It starts with one. You need one hair salon. You need one barber shop. You need one liquor store. Just one church.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you got that whole corner. What happens to that corner? Now you got the whole block. You can't do it. It's possible.
Yep.
I think the next thing is living black. We gotta stop accepting just these hand-me-down trophies, participation awards. Don't give me Obama because it's that time.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
Don't
No
don't
symbolism.
disrespect me like that.
Yeah, no
because
bullshit.
our culture runs this fucking country.
Hell yeah.
no
If we really
bullshit.
sit here like,
Yeah.
nah, this is
We
us.
are the money.
This
We
is
are the
us.
money. Yeah.
And so for us to accept anything but what the fuck we deserve after all this bullshit, like, no, you can't.
Talk to him.
You can't get that past me.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing is educated black. I feel like the biggest disconnect is the fact that for some reason we were joking about it earlier, but like it's like frowned upon to be educated and black.
Yeah.
Do your fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're getting out of that,
You can be
though.
a goon and still
I
be
think so,
smart.
too.
I think we're getting out of
We
it
are getting out
slowly
of it,
but
so.
surely.
Absolutely. But again, like,
Information age, man.
dog, if that foot ain't on the, if you ain't
Yeah.
stepping on their necks, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Where is that pressure?
Right.
If there's no pressure, then like we can sit here and we'll keep talking, and
Yeah.
guess what? Our kids will be talking about the same
too.
shit,
Exactly.
and then our grandkids will be
got that
talking
right.
about the same shit, and then the
Exactly.
same shit that we look at our parents like, hey yo, well what the fuck did you do?
Exactly.
Right.
Now we in that same position 20 years from now,
Exactly.
and our kids looking at us, well, what the fuck did you do?
And that's why we got to be all gas, no brakes. We got to apply pressure, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to encourage everybody to watch. To me, Dr. Umar Johnson's on Nick Cannon's class.
That was an excellent episode.
I didn't see that one.
That was such a great episode and very inspirational. But to piggyback on what everybody said, actually, I'm going to look more into local impact. You know, I want to see what I can do to help that out, and also putting the black people in the positions, even if it keeps evolving, so that multiple people and more blacks are in those positions, to make it even harder if the government attempts to do what they've been doing historically. And then educating myself and supporting black businesses. I agree with A6. I think money is the thing, man. Money is power, man. So I implore every black person to be educated. I appreciate the movie Black Panther just because they said a dignified rhetoric among African Americans, like, that wasn't uncool. It was cool. It was uncool to not know about stuff. You know, like, and it was so dignified and it was royal like. And you know, I mean, I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but you know, we're at the beginning of all this anyway. You know what I'm saying? We're at the beginning of all this. You know, and like Slim was saying, all the culture of America is from us. You know, you think about music now and the influence. It came from us, bro. It's as simple as that.
Fashion
You know what I'm saying?
design.
All
Everything.
That. You know, so anyway, you know, so I want to tell people to keep educating yourself on politics. You know why you support this person. Aim for the local people, man, and be patient. You might not even see your dream come true, but your children might. And with that being said, that's the end of the episode. Real quick, I want A6 to plug his stuff again for me, please. Your YouTube one more time.
All right, so the YouTube is A-6_grind time. And then you can find me on Instagram if you so desire, A6grindtime_.
Okay. And Christian, do you have anything to plug at all, or
No.
you chilling? We know Austin, but Austin, do you have any extra things you want to mention?
You know, just continue to show love and support to everyone in your local community, in your corner. We appreciate everybody continuing to support Words Never Spoken. Stick with us. Shout out Quality Touch Studios. Looking for that Grammy consideration right now. We so close. The team is grinding. William Bowser's a workhorse, putting everybody in a position. I mean, he's all of our mentor over there. You know, me, Slim, Wayside. He is our low key. He's our mentor. So shout out to him. Protect the people around you who are working for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and pay attention. Pay attention to it. That's about it for me.
And Slim, did you have anything?
I mean, first off, I appreciate you being here. I know it was kind of all of a sudden.
Thanks for coming. Yeah.
Thanks for this, man.
It's my brother right
man,
there.
it's a pleasure meeting you. Pleasure meeting you guys.
Likewise,
I
man.
appreciate
Slim the
you.
engineer. You can follow me anywhere. Quality Touch Studios, Wayside, all that stuff. We work our asses off over there.
Get your records mixed right, artists.
And that's all black. It's black
I'm
owned
gonna holler
business.
at you, matter of fact, yo. on
Yeah,
that.
most definitely. Outside of that, you know, love and protect our black women. keep it cool, like
There's that.
you know, and
Yes,
and
sir.
just continue to press for more. You
Yeah,
know what I
facts.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
always.
that's the only thing that I ever ask out of anybody that I consider a friend
Yeah.
in my life is like, bro, you can't be stagnant at no point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
it all comes down to that. Like how you
Yeah.
live your life. Like if you're stagnant and you decide, okay, I'm not gonna push for more, then what we want as a collective is just not gonna happen. So we all individually have to always have our foots on that neck.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Dr. Jones and Crystal with the compliments. One more thing, really quick, and we're going to make this more apparent earlier. But words never spoken. Just so you know, we'll be moving to a new channel. I'm saying this prematurely, but I'm pretty sure we'll be moving to a new channel. I just want to get y'all a heads up. So we'll give y'all all the information where to subscribe. We'll post it somewhere that's obvious, but we'll be bringing Words Never Spoken to a new channel. That way, we're able to please our specific audience and their expectations, and also continue to give you more content on an exclusive way that makes it easier for you to access. So Words Never Spoken is soon to be on another channel on YouTube. We'll keep everybody updated. But okay, I'm gonna end it, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks our guests and everybody for our time. This is episode 16 of Words Never Spoken. We'll see you guys next week. All right.